And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another season here of the GSL. The GSL 2026 Season 1, Ro12 Group A. I'm, of course, just VIP with you. I'm joined by these amazing players and by the people in the chat as well. Welcome, one and all, to not Twitch, not YouTube, but welcome to Soup. We are live here over on the Soup platform for the first time, covering GSL live. In the past, we have been covering the event via replays more than anything, but now we do have the opportunity to cover it live here on the Soup platform. Shouts, of course, to those working behind the scenes on Soup, providing us with the cleanest of feeds. Pappy, oh my god. Shout out to both State and Tasis for also, of course, casting on their own respective main feed, of course. They are live over on the main channel. We, of course, are live here covering you our own unique perspective, our own commentary, of course. Let's go. Let us go. Likewise, a big shout out to Intel, of course, for being one of the main or the main sponsor for the event this season, and hopefully for more seasons to come. Likewise, shout out to all of our patrons as well. The Patreon for GSL has been funding the event and has successfully funded the GSL for 2 seasons. The first and second season are fully funded, and if you want to support the GSL even further coming into Season 3, then you can do so via supporting over on GSL. Likewise, GSL CK, we've also been one of the official English casters for. We've been covering it on our own personal channel. We also did live cast, or quote-unquote live cast, the GSL qualifiers last week, and now we are here with the main event. We're here in the round of 12. We are here in the group stage. Let's go, baby. Let us go, as we are going to be jumping in. And likewise, you can see our schedule here before you. We do have the initial round of 12. We are live on the 29th and 30th, 2 days this week of GSL, of round of 12 action. Next week, we're going to be live with the round of 8 with the quarterfinals, with Group A and Group B on the 6th and 7th of May. And then we have the semifinals and grand finals on the 17th. That's going to be on a Sunday in a couple of weeks' time. Let's go, let's go. So again, we have Group Stage 12. So we have the round of 12, we have the round of 8, and then we have the semis and grand finals. The GSL season is upon us, and we are here to begin it. Meanwhile, when it comes to the event itself, as you can see here, there are ways to support the event. You can see there on Patreon, patreon.com/GSL, to help support the tournament, to help support continued funding for future seasons of GSL and for GSL CK as well. Likewise, you do have other ways to support the event via Soup itself. So you can support on the Soup platform to gain other benefits, bearing in mind that a lot of these benefits you can also gain via Patreon. That's just an alternate way to support Soup, to support GSL, either on the Soup platform or over on Patreon, where we do have quite a lot of benefits here. As you can see, we do have player photos, some behind the scenes in regards to the photo shoot. Speaking of behind the scenes, we do have to cover it during the podcast, but Classic, he's actually been vlogging. He actually made a vlog of himself and meeting up with all the players, going to the GSL studio and going to the photo shoot as well. So you can even see from his perspective as well. It's great to see these other players starting to take that more content creation route in regards to YouTube, in regards to streaming on Soup on a regular basis as well. That has been a prerequisite. Meanwhile, this is the Patreon kind of stretch goals. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit for you. Un momento. There we go. We have our Patreon stretch goals here. You can see $6,000 a month will allow for the GSL CK to turn into a twice-a-month event. We have the $10,000 prize for the $10,000 stretch goal to be able to unleash GSL Season 3, which is yet to be confirmed. That'll be from May to November. Bearing in mind that currently we have 2 seasons fully funded. Third season has yet to be funded. And likewise, we then have the GSL Season 3 expanded prize pool with $15,000 raised per month. So again, we do have plenty of stretch goals here available to help support GSL for the rest of the year for 2026. Hey. So again, you can help support, you can help take part, you can help take part in supporting Korean StarCraft. True. Currently, this is how much we have raised, almost $6,000 through both a combination of Soup and Patreon. So thank you so much, all the support that we have gained so far. And again, we are more than halfway to our next goal, of course, to the next stretch goal. And again, we're going to be keeping you guys posted and updated on a regular basis through said donation goal, or that subscription goal even. Meanwhile, we do have our map pool here, standard map pool. I know we've been spoiling you recently with non-stop TLMC maps. The Team Liquid map contest voting is soon to be made public and soon to be available. But until that time comes, of course, we have our standard ladder map pool so far: 10,000 feet, Celestial Enclave, Mothership, Old Republic, Ruby Rock, Tidal Citadel, Tourmaline, White Rabbit, and Winter Madness. Likewise, we do have already some players seeded directly into the round of 8. That was done during the qualifiers. Hero, Classic, Maru, and Shin. Those 4 players are directly seeded in. Bear that in mind. If you don't see them here in this week's group stage, it's because they were able to skip it. Meanwhile, again, you can see the format itself. Again, GSL group stage, GSL group formats, 2 players elimination, double elimination. 2 players, of course. There are winners matches, elimination matches as well. 5 best of 3s in total per broadcast day in the round of 12. Same with the round of 8, and then we go into the single elimination format tournament in the semis and grand finals. No double elimination bracket available. Bear that in mind. It's going to be that much more cutthroat leading into the playoffs. As of course, again, I mean, you should be familiar with this format. It's kind of been the GSL format for quite some time. Obviously, the GSL format has been reduced in size a little bit as we start with a round of 12, but regardless, we have the caliber of players being insane here. Here we go. As you can see, that we have the groups, Group A and B, that is going to be taking place this week. We have Rogue, Percival, Zoun, and Solar here in Group A. We have Cure, Trigger, Bunny, and Björn over in Group B. Ooh, that's a Terran heavy group. Best of luck, Trigger. But surrounded by a sea of Terran in Group B. We have a much more diverse and a much more well-balanced group here in Group A, with at least one of each race. Double Zerg here in Group A. Would have been nice to split them up, I'll be honest, to avoid some of the mirror matchups and to avoid the TBT heavy group over in Group B. But regardless, we do have, again, Double Zerg, 1 Protoss, and 1 Terran in Group A. Likewise, heading on over here to the next week's broadcast schedule, we do have Classic and Maru in the same group in Group A, and we have Shin and Hero over in Group B as well. Those are going to be some terrifying groups. And the photo shoot abound. Oh my god, this is not the first time Percival has made it into Code S, bear that in mind, but Percival, he is looking like a beast as of late. If you missed out on the GSL qualifiers, I recommend the VODs because we did cast it live, but Percival, he did actually defeat Solar to qualify for GSL, and Björn as well. Percival, he popped off, taking down Solar and Björn to make it into GSL. He was looking like a beast, and he has been looking like a beast over the past year of play, so no surprises there. Meanwhile, we have Zoun, who likewise has been on the rise. We have Solar and Rogue, the veterans of the group. I will say they've been around for much longer than said Zoun and Percival, and we'll see who's favored as he's sleeping. what a cut to Rogue. What a cut, Pappy, what a cut. Hold on, I don't want to cover Esther Rogue. Beautiful. Don't want to cover him, but there we go. We have Rogue. When it comes to his career scores, we do have 2025 GSL Season 1. In recent years, he did make it to top 8. In 2025 GSL Season 2, got 2nd place. Likewise, got 9th and 12th in EWC last year, 2025. And in the Rongi Cup Season 3, which I believe was this year, actually, got to the top 16. So again, in recent years and recent times, hasn't reached too heavy heights. Meanwhile, it's time to smooch, baby. The lights are off, and we have embraced the darkness. Percival, again, he is more of a younger up-and-comer. He has been in GSL season, in the GSL round 32 before in years past, that is true, but only once before. And you can see here some of his most recent accolades: DreamHack Dallas, round of 32, RSL offline finals, top 11, Rongi Cup, top 16, RSL season 1, top 12. Like, again, I need to earn my college tuition money. True. That's his quote. Let's go. But again, he's a younger up-and-comer. Despite that, that's why it's so important. That's why it's so impressive that he defeated both Solar and Björn, who are 2 seasoned veterans at this point, and brought them down to make it into GSL. So Percival, he is the young up-and-comer. He has a lot of hype behind him, he has a lot of momentum behind him, and he has a spring in his step. He still has that smile, papi. He's young, he's fresh. Meanwhile, Rogue, once again a veteran of the region, he is a world champion, but that was many years ago. right? Many years ago. Nowadays, when we think of the top Zerg players in StarCraft, we think of Sterile, we think of Raynor, we think of even Solar, I would say, stepping up amongst the best Zerg players in the world. Rogue is still trying to get there. Now, we have seen a couple of moments of brilliance of Rogue. I'm thinking of Star Zagora, for example, but here we go. We're jumping right into game one. We're jumping into our best of 3. Let's go. Oh, we're gonna get player cams. In the top left-hand corner, we do have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran. It is Percival. And in the bottom right, we do have the South Korean Zerg. The blue Zerg, it is Rogue. As he moves out across the map with the first drone. Ay. Moves out with the first drone here, and he's going for the proxy hatchery. Cheeky moves out of Rogue, and we'll see how Percival reacts, how he responds. He's already setting up a depot here on the low ground. We have seen this in recent times from Percival. This does actually set up a wall off very early on, connecting to the CC, to make for a bit of a more robust defense, at least on the low ground. Meanwhile, the drone does actually go for the hatchery, barely out of vision of the depot even. Oh my god. Barely out of vision here. Rogue is being very cheeky, hyper aggressive. This is not your standard hatch block. No, this is more intentional. This is more sinister here, going for the proxy here on the low ground to commit into an all-in. Now, the scary thing about Percival's setup here is that low ground depot will allow him to scout for a proxy hatchery that blocks the expansion, but also to create some sim city with the CC. But here, against an early all-in, an early aggression, an early rush that's going to be coming his way, this depot is going to be quite vulnerable and will even allow him to be supply blocked that much easier from his opponent, as it is going to be a hatch pool, not a hatch gas pool. So delayed gases for Rogue, delayed hatchery as well, earlier spawning pool, which means earlier queen production. I believe the goal here, well, he gets scouted. He gets scouted, he gets seen, but I believe the goal here is to get earlier queens, to spread creep, to contain his opponents as we respond with a 3-rack stim timing. 1 base all in. So Percival, instead of going for a high ground CC, he's going for the 1 base all in. The goal is to shut down this proxy to commit across the map. Meanwhile, are we going for the spine rush? We're spreading creep and setting up spine crawlers. Okay, interesting here. The Reaper does poke in, does not spot the drone, could have gotten it. Yeah, the drone does go away, Reaper does go across the map. Now, bearing in mind, there is no queen. No defensive queen here, so that Reaper has a lot of potential for damage, as long as no one gets surrounded. True, bear that in mind. Queen, I believe, just now begins back at home, but it's going to be delayed. So delayed queen production, Reaper does poke in, heads into the mineral line, and with good enough control, Percival should not get surrounded. So far it does kite away. Spine crawler's almost done across the map. Again, the spine is going to be finishing up. Likewise, Percival, he's kiting back. Does kite back, does kite away. If he needs to be louder. Oh. But here we go. The spine crawler does move in, does move forward here. Going to be whittling away at the depot. Does whittle away. And so far, what we're waiting for here is the stim timing. Again, right now, Rogue is containing Percival, but Percival, he's going for a 1 base all-in anyway, so he's just massing up Marines as we speak, waiting for stim, waiting for combat shields, and then he'll break out across the map. Bearing in mind that back at home, there's no link speed. There's no link speed, there's no Bailey Nest. I believe that Roaches might be the go-to to defend, as gas is just now being taken by Rogue, but here comes the breakout, and he will break out. And Marines, they move down to low ground. 1 Marine goes down. He will lose 1. He'll lose 2 Marines. And I believe only 2. Only 2 Marines go down, so shuts down the initial spine crawler, chasing down the drones, chasing down the queens, and then it's time to rush across the map. As the queen is getting caught. I will try to raise the volume on my end. We'll try to. So here we go. Percival does commit. The boys are being pulled. Remember, stim is almost done. Stim is finishing. Combat shields is complete. How many roaches are they going to be to defend? That's what it comes down to. How many roaches? There are 7 overlords. Wait, what? Okay, no, that's how they were out. I thought they were in production, but there we go. 11 roaches in production. I thought that was a production tab for a moment in top left. Bearing in mind we are not in game. But Marines, they start to step in. The queens, they have no transfuse. Yeah, no transfuse energy. One queen goes down. Roaches, two of them get caught out. And Percival, he's snowballing out of control. He breaks through the roaches, breaks through all the queens. Nice KDA charge, knocking down the drones. And I believe Percival, he should have enough. Oh, I say that there is a line of roaches here. The roaches are barely holding their own. No shot in Rogue. He's holding, he's defending. Remember, Percival, he's all in. He has no follow-up here. He has a CC on the way, but it is so delayed. Yeah, it is very delayed. Ah, there we go. I do apologize for the lower quality initially. Should be back up to normal. Should be back up. Yeah, beautiful. It's crisp, happy crisp. As Percival, he will again clean up all this creep. He's going for his expansion, but this is such a late expansion here. Look at the worker disparity. We see 39 drones to 28 SCVs here for Percival. In the end, the all-in did fail. Yes, he was able to reset the queen count. He did get a couple of drone kills, but that was not good enough. Not good enough here. Not for Percival. And he's going for a second. Okay, he's going for the second all-in. Let's go. The second wave. The boys are being pulled. Now this time he does have a couple of marauders. True. He's got a couple of marauders available. Percival stepping in. Starts stepping up. Does get on top of what, 3-4 roaches. But he needs to get on top of those ravagers. He needs to break through. The Wiles. Oh my god. Wiles who's him away. And he just doesn't have enough. Yeah, Percival, he does not have enough here. Again, the roaches, they did come out in time. Rogue, he holds. He shuts this down. And Percival, he falls further and further behind. You could argue that when it came to his first push, he should have pulled the boys then. Like that. I mean, that might have helped. Maybe even then, it might not have been enough. Force the scan. And Rogue, he can just rally. At this point, he can just rally across the map. There's no bunker. There's no tanks. Percival, who played safe, he's pulling back. I mean, there's no rush, there's no pressure, there's no rush. There's no rush for for Rogue. He can just back off, calm down, build up his roaches. The contamination. Oh my god. Contaminates +1. Ay. Contaminates once again. As from here, Rogue does push in, and again, there's just barely anything to defend. At this point, with the all-in failing, it's just rough here for Percival. Trying to hold on, it does pull the boys, 11 SCVs go down, and with that, Rogue snowballs out of control, GG gets called, and Rogue will take game number 1. Whew. Oh no, we're covering his face. There we go. But GG, well played. Rogue, he does claim the first game here. Again, hyper cheese, hyper aggression out of Rogue. Going for what? Going for the initial proxy. Going for the proxy, going for the spine rush into the Roach Warren follow-up. Again, Percival, he was quick to react, of course, to the proxy hatchery with his own 3-rack stim timing. And I was fond of the idea, but as you saw, Percival, by the time he got across the map, there were already roaches barely popping out in time. I do feel like that potentially Percival could have committed a little bit harder to that push by pulling all the boys. But alas, we saw that he committed with just the bioarm. He did pull a couple of SCVs, but Rogue, he was able to barely hold on in time. Did lose all of his queens, but the roaches did pop out, and with that, Rogue, he did hold. GG, well played. With that, Rogue, after a chaotic game 1, does come out on top, and now it's going to be up to Percival to try to recover here in game number 2. But what I do like here by Rogue is that he has set the pace of the series. He's kind of set the tone, if you will, with Rogue being hyper cheesy, hyper aggressive early on, forcing a certain reaction out of Percival, and even then being able to keep up with said reaction and with said aggression from Percival as well. Rogue, he gets down and dirty. He likes it, Pap. He likes it. And in the top left-hand corner, we have the man himself. We have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the blue Zerg. It is Rogue. In the bottom right, we have Percival, the Red Terran. Let's go. Let us go. We have our Zerg, we have our Terran, we have our ZVT, and eyes are on Rogue to see how he does adjust coming into Winter Madness. Now again, Winter Madness is one of the larger maps of the map pool, larger map, longer rush distance by ground. As a result, we often do see longer and more standard mid to late game on this map, but it's Rogue, so anything is possible. This time, Hatchery is back at home, so far coming in line with the map itself. Ruby Rock is known for aggression, and we saw plenty of aggression on Ruby Rock. Winter Madness known for mid to late game, and so far we're seeing a standard opener. We'll see if that continues, if that trend continues coming into said mid game. If we do see any kind of major deviation from Rogue, we will do our best to point it out. Likewise, Percival, we'll see how he does evolve throughout the course of the series as well. Now, we didn't really get to speak too much on our players. It is going to be a hatch pool delayed gas build. Interesting. We might even go gasless. Eyes are on Rogue. We do already notice a bit of a difference when it comes to his build. But Percival, his strength lies in the mid game. If you were watching his matches against Solar, and if you've been watching Percival in tournaments over the past year of play, Percival, he's a very fast player. He is one of the fastest right now. Like, he has a lot of APM, he's very fast, he's very quick, he's very micro intensive, and if he can get into the mid game, he will pull you apart with multi-prong aggression, drop play, main pushes, counter attacks. Like Percival, he's a very fast player, and if he can get into that mid game, that is where he does hit his stride, but only if he can get there. Once again, my eyes are on Rogue just because of the later gas geyser. He went hatch, pool, gas. So late gas, and even here, he doesn't even prioritize gas saturation. So I'm curious to see if Rogue goes for a Roach Warren. Typically, if you're delaying your gases, it means that you don't want link speed, or that you're intentionally delaying link speed. So my eyes are on either one of two things, fast Roach Warren or a lair. Both cases skip link speed. In both situations, in both scenarios. For now, we are joining, we are saturating. We have Percival going for a thorough TC before, is that 3cc before factory? Is he going 3cc 3 racks? Jesus, what is going on? Percival is going for a very unique build. Reaper does zip in. Will disrupt some of the economy, doesn't check further into the main base, but bearing in mind, again, that is a third TC before factory. That is hyper greed here. It is going to be 3cc 3 racks. This is typically a TVP build. Second racks is on the way. We should be seeing a third racks into a stim timing. This is similar to last game, where we're going up to 3 racks, building up mass bio and going into stim and combat shields and hitting a very strong bio timing early on. As you can see, there's on the production tab, there's that third racks. As you mentioned, 3cc 3 racks. Again, this is a common build against Protoss. It is a rare, uncommon build against Zerg. Now, this is going to be very committed and very aggressive. This will be hitting earlier than a 2-on-1, I believe. This will also be hitting without any medevacs. So because of that, it does mean that every stim, you have to be careful with it. It does count. 3:16 layer timing. Remember, we called this at the beginning of the game. We noticed that the gases were late for Rogue, so there was a high chance he either goes layer first or Roach Warren first. We have the answer, layer first. 3:17 or 3:16. This is link speed, so no link speed whatsoever. This does mean that Rogue, he's rushing into tech, and I would imagine rushing into 2-base muta, but I believe this 3cc 3 rack should be able to hard counter that. But no, he's going into 2-base Roach. A Roach Warren gets thrown down. I'm curious if, nah, it's real. I was gonna say that I'm curious if it's just a safety Roach Warren. If it was, it would have been a part of the wall. Because it's behind the mineral line, this is intentional. Like, this is committed. It looks like Rogue is going for a Roach all-in. He's going for a Roach all-in. He's going to be hitting with really fast Roach speed because of the fast lair and very fast +1 carry pace. So fast upgrades here by Rogue. Very, very, very crisp and strong timing is coming out from our Zerg player here. And the problem is that Percival, his 3-rack stim timing that he's going for is ideal against Lings, against Ling Bane Queen, right? Ling Queen, Ling Bane Queen, Ling Hydra, Ling Bane, sorry, Ling Muta I meant to say, against that kind of more fragile composition. Against a Roach heavy composition, I mean, you just saw what happened last game, right? Where Rogue, he got out his Roaches and he just shut down the bio army early on. It's looking like a similar situation here. A similar kind of, a similar situation is going to pan out with Percival moving out with his bio army designed to get damage done, and Rogue shutting it down with Roach Ravager and then snowballing out of control into a counterattack. That is my big concern. For now, though, we're still waiting for the upgrades. Again, we're waiting for Stim, waiting for combat shields. The mass bio is amassing. Third CC is being taken. Remember, this is a more economic variation of 3 racks because it was a 3cc setup first, and here comes the push. Here comes the move out. Rogue coming for the scout. Rogue, he's already making Roaches. Like again, it feels like almost a blind counter from Rogue. Rogue didn't know what was going on. Rogue, he was skipping link speed at the start of the game. He already had this build in mind. Now he's scanned. Now he sees the Roach Warren. And Percival, he has to make a decision, and he commits. He commits across the map. He has to. Stim is finishing up just in time, but the Roach is already here. He can't move in. We already have Roaches. And this Stim timing, it falls on its face. Now, what I will say, thankfully, Percival doesn't commit. Right? Thankfully, Percival, he does not commit. Otherwise, he would have lost everything, and he would have lost everything for nothing. So, Percival, a very mature decision. He turns around. He turns around. He does race back home. I do like this from Percival. So, he turns around, races back home to defend, to build up towards a later timing. The problem, though, is that now Percival's on the back foot. Because of his build, no tanks. Right? Delayed factory, delayed starport, delayed tank production. He has purely Marines and a handful of Marauders against an all-in. Remember, the whole point of Rogue's build was to go for a massive all-in. Contamination on concussive shell. But Rogue, he's cut workers at under 3 base saturation. He's massing up Rogue Travager. Rogue gets supply blocks, but he will break the third. Yeah, he breaks the third base. Does force it to be evacuated. Remember, there are no medevacs, so every stim hurts. Whilst they zone the army, no major connections. But again, they are zoning, boys are being pulled, 16 SCVs go down, and Rogue, he's just snowballing out of control. He breaks the main army, he does push in, and Percival, he's contained on 2 bases, and Rogue, he's not going to be stopped. He cannot be stopped, not like this. As you mentioned, this was almost just a build order win. Just a build order win from Rogue from the beginning. We'll get into it more later, but I mean, we kind of walked through it already. The piles are going to be zoning back the army, 25 SCVs going to be going down, and Percival's getting completely shut down here. Oof. Bile even connects towards the end. And more Biles are connecting. Army is heavily overstimmed. Biles, they stop the army from pushing in. And there's nothing left. We're down to 5 Marauders out of 4. Down to 3. 3 Marauders left. 1 tank on the high ground, but there's high ground vision. The tank gets piled down. Ooh, quick lift there out of Percival. And Percival, he never got into his game. Remember, what were we praising Percival for? We were like, yo, if he can get into the mid game, if he can get into drop play, like that's where Percival thrives. But he never got there. He never got there. Percival, his big strengths, how he brought down someone like Solar, he never got to make use of it. The game never lasted that long. This series just did not last that long. GG gets called, and Rogue, he will claim the series 2-0, advancing on into the winners match. GG. GG, well played, Rogue. Cool, calm, and collected, Bappy. He just wants to go back to bed. True. Just wants to go back, Bappy. Hyper aggression out of Rogue, and also some unique builds out of Percival. Very, very unique. GG, well played. Congratulations, Rogue. He will claim the series. He will advance on. Now, very quickly, when it came to the games themselves, I do want to emphasize, of course, that again, this was almost like a build order win. So winding it back, Rogue, he intentionally opened up with late gas. He went hatch pool. What does that mean? We kind of walked through it. Hatch pool means that we're going to be skipping link speed and either going for a fast lair or fast roaches. We went for the fast lair. It's a 317 lair timing into a fast roach one, into a roach all in, hitting with +1 and hitting with roach speed. So from the very beginning, we were working towards a roach all in. Meanwhile, from the very beginning, we saw that Percival was going for a very greedy build, going for a 3cc into 3 ranks into a stim timing. But because of that build specifically that Percival was going for, because that build, it means late factory, late starport, late medevacs, late tanks. And against a roach heavy style, you need tanks. You need that tank count, or you need a marauder heavy composition. But the whole point of his build was a marine heavy composition with stim. So that's why we were kind of alluding to it being almost like a build or a win, where the build of choice from someone like Percival was subpar there, and it set him behind and made for a very, very difficult mid game from him. I was praising him for turning around and for that being a very mature decision, but even with that, like, it was just going to be a very difficult defense. I think there's a chance where if he had thrown down like 3 or 4 bunkers, if he had like thrown down as many bunkers as possible after he turned back around and pre-pulled the boys to repair, maybe he defends the natural, maybe, but I don't think he can hold on to the third. And even then, I don't know if it'd be worth it holding on to the natural in such a way, which is a really rough position. But now though, we're going to be cutting to a short break, and when we come back, we'll have our next series. When we come back, we will have our next matchup, Zoun versus Solar, after the break. See you soon. Oh. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to the GSL. The GSL Season 1 2026 Round of 12 Group A. We just wrapped up with our first series, and honestly, pretty fast series. Pretty fast series here. Hyper aggression from both Rogue and Percival, to be fair, but Rogue, he set the pace. He did make for some unusual and hyper aggressive builds, and Percival, he had a really hard time responding, reacting, and for the most part, it felt like Percival was playing into Rogue's hands. With that, Rogue, he was able to dominate, but now we have our next matchup. We have Zoun versus Solar. Let's go. Let us go. Jumping into this here, as you can see, we have Zoun. Zoun, what is this quote? I'll show you guys why Protoss is not OP. Oh no, he's Esther Zoun, he's so doomed, papi. Have some faith. We believe in you. We believe. We have some recent results, of course. 2025 DreamHack Dallas got up to the round of 24. We have GSL 2025 Season 2 getting up to the top 6. Likewise, you had Rongi Cup Season 3 getting up to the top 12, and EWC 2025 getting up to the top 12 as well. Zoun, he is a very solid player. I would say he's a little bit inconsistent. Like, we have seen Zoun pop off and have some amazing results. I'm still thinking about his matches versus Rainer, for example, in RSL. He can look amazing at times, but he's not the most active player when it comes to online tournaments, not the most consistent. We'll see how he compares to Solar. A lot of it comes down to current form. Meanwhile, let's catch up with Solar here. Let's go. We can see his quote. Hey Zoun, time to move on from SC2. Oh my god. Solar, calm down, papi, calm down. Then be fighting words. Jesus. Telling him to retire. There's a reason why he's one of the villains of SC2. True, true. There is a reason. As Solar, his most recent big results here, we had 2025 GSL Season 1, top 10. We had his second place at DreamHack Dallas, and of course some of the other results as well. But here we go. We do have our current vetoes and our map order. Game 1, Celestial. Game 2, Mothership. Game 3, 10,000 feet. Interesting. So we had Solar vetoing the larger maps, Taito, Old Republic, and Winter Madness. We had Zoun's vetoing the smaller maps, Ruby Rock, Tourmaline, and White Rabbit. White Rabbit isn't smaller, but it is harder to defend. So Zoun, he got rid of the maps where it's more difficult to turtle up and be defensive on. Solar got rid of some of the larger maps instead. We're left with Celestial, Mothership, and 10,000 feet. Clearly, we can see how Zoun wants to approach this, and I feel like we can see how Solar wants to approach this as well. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised he vetoed Old Republic. Right? Like Old Republic, I feel like a lot of Zerg players have been enjoying when it comes to trying to break the defending and turtling player, so that veto does catch me a little bit off guard. I'm curious what the plan is. I'm curious what Solar has in store for us here to allow for Celestial to make it through, for example. Like, Celestial is the macro map. It's the macro map. We see a lot of late game, a lot of turtle play on Celestial Enclave, so I'm curious if Solar has a plan for this. Does he have an all-in plan, or does he plan on going into mutas, which is also another viable strategy on maps like Celestial and on maps like Mothership. So very, very curious what Solar has in store for us, because you don't let Celestial through a veto process unless you're planned, like unless you're prepared, I should say. Unless you have something cheeky in store for us. Let's go. Let us go. Otherwise, we are just getting ready. Again, in my mind, we have seen Solar go for some very, very, very specific all-ins on Celestial Enclave, specifically making use of the rocks and knocking down those rocks and committing across the map. We have seen Solar make use of that in the past, so that's what I'm thinking of. Either like an all-in knocking down those rocks, or muta play. But we'll see. We shall see. Also, something that I didn't notice until recently, we already mentioned that, you know, shout out to Intel for sponsoring the event, for being the main sponsor for GSL this season. But if you notice, I believe Onside is also sponsoring. I did see Onside's logo earlier. But let's go. Let us go. As spawning in the bottom hand corner of Celestial Enclave, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss. It is Zoun. That's a bit loud. And in the right hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player. We have the red Zerg. It is Solar. Let's go. Let us go. The audio levels are a little bit all over the place, so I do apologize for that. Just because the clean feed audio is a little bit lower, so we had to raise that audio. But it also means by raising that, the fanfare and the trumpets are a little bit louder than usual as well. So I'm probably going to ease up on the trumpets for the time being, and just, you know, you can just imagine them in your mind. But yeah, you can see them on the left, Onside's logo. So Onside, they're also going to be sponsoring. Really cool to see. Shout out to Onside. sponsoring the GSL. Whew. As for now, we are going to be settling on in. Hatch first here out of Solar, likewise Gate Expand out of Zoun. So far, very standard setups here, but welcome to Celestial Enclave. We alluded to this earlier. This is the macro map in the map pool. Very commonly, we see players turtle up and build up into the late game into Skytoss from the side of Protoss. That is why Zoun led this through, but that's why I'm surprised that Solar led this through the veto process. It has to be for a reason. Has to be for a reason here. And we'll see what that reason is going to be. Again, Gate Expand out of Zoun. We have a pocket expansion available to us. Typically, you want to save the pocket base for a 4th or 5th expansion. You don't want to take it early on, as that would be a bit of a waste. So you want to save it, preserve it until much, much later. That is typically the plan. Typically. As we are going to be opening up. Likewise, so far, there's no crazy timings when it comes to the gases, just hatch, gas pool, standard setup out of Solar. What we're really going to be waiting for here is the tech of choice out of Solar. Does he open up Lair first, Evo Chamber first, or Ro12 first? Like, what is it going to be? That will give us a bit of an idea as to how he does want to approach this game. Likewise, from the side of Zoun, we're expecting Stargate. We're expecting Stargate into Oracle, into a third base, into a standard game. Speaking of, there's that Stargate, but in an unusual position. Interesting. Okay. So we don't often see Stargate openers in this kind of with this kind of layout, but I suppose it's dual purposed because it also allows Zoun to have a scouting pylon early on in that pocket expansion. Technically, I guess it also reduces the distance between the Oracle and your opponent's natural, but more than anything, I think it does just help with scouting. As you do have quite a large entrance into your own main. Meanwhile, we do have our third base being taken, so Solar does take his third on time. Link speed is on the way. So far, everything's looking normal from Solar. And again, likewise, you should be seeing that faster Oracle and that faster aggression from Zoun. Getting across the map. Oracle's on the way. Now we have a little dance. We should be seeing Solar keep up with the Adepts and Solar deflect the Oracles. It's going to be up to Zoun to find Solar slipping and try to abuse that, and try to take advantage of that, and try to find some damage early on. For the most part, Solar, he should maintain his defenses, and he should have minimal losses here. We're expecting maybe 2-3 drones at most when it comes to the Oracle harass. We'll see. We shall see. As the first Oracle does zoom across the map. Zoun is moving out. Twilight Council back at home. Once again, just really interesting placements, but because of the placement of that Twilight Council, Zoun also scouts the rocks. Like, it feels like all the tech is in really weird locations for Zoun, but it's specific to scout certain locations of his own bases. To scout the drop location in the pocket base, and also to scout the rocks. Meanwhile, 2 drones. 2 drones go down. Again, that's to be expected. Adepts, they're being somewhat active. Now, this is an earlier Twilight Council, bear that in mind. Likewise, the third base, the pocket expansion is being taken. A little bit surprised that we're going for the pocket base, not the standard third, but the earlier Twilight Council is for earlier Blink, no Forge. Ooh, no Forge, no +1. Now, the lack of Forge is usually a sign of aggression here. Typically, that means, okay, we're foregoing upgrades in favor of a heavier gateway count and a more committed Blink Stalker move out. That's usually what this means. So it looks like an 8-gate 3-base all-in from the side of Zoun, which would explain why he went for the pocket expansion, right? Because he's not really too concerned about taking a more efficient base, because the game is not meant to last that long. So that's how I'm reading this. And there's the gateway explosion. You can see 4 gates on the way. So again, based on the Twilight Council timing, it screamed 8 gates all in. We have 4 on the way, 2 already done. We have 6 gates so far. We're expecting 2 more. Yep, there it is, another gateway. So we're getting up to 7 gateways, and we're missing 1 more gate. So again, this was all foretold based on the Twilight Council timing, and also piecing together the reason why the pocket base was taken as well. So it all makes sense. It all makes sense. So Zoun is going for the all-in. It's going to be Mass Blink Stalker. Again, this also explains why there's no Forge. We were kind of like, taking our steps towards that, explaining. And Solar has yet to scout, right? We've been focusing a lot on, the methodology and the rationale behind Zoun's build, but Solar has yet to go into confirm. Solar doesn't know. Does spot some Stalkers moving out, which is normal. Hydrogen is on the way. Solar, he's taking gases. He's droning. He's not droning up too much. I feel like Solar cutting workers here at 58 should be fine. And he doesn't catch out the Stalkers. Blink is revealed. That is early. Yeah, the blink is early. Solar should recognize. He's massing out more Lings. Hydrogen is on the way. And we'll see if Solar can hold. Again, thankfully for Solar, I don't think he overdroned. But it still comes down to the engagement. It still comes down to the control. As Zoun is pushing forward. Zoun is pushing forward. He's gaining some ground. Lings just try to engage. Ooh, bit of an overreaction. Yeah, Zoun does overreact. He does waste his blink. Okay, we have to be very, very careful here with how we blink, how we pull away. Speaking of Solar, he commits. Decent stasis. Yeah, decent stasis goes up. The Oracle's getting low. Ooh, one Oracle goes down. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, that should not have happened. Down to 2 Oracles. The Oracles, they're so crucial when it comes to supporting this army. Yeah, they are crucial. Stalkers, they blink away. They're trying to get on top of the Hydras. So far, slowly over time, the Hydra count is getting higher, and Solar's holding. Yeah, Solar, he's holding on. He's building up those Hydras, zoning away. Lings are coming from behind. Again, Zoun, he needs more damage here. Okay, Solar running out of Lings. But at this point, we've hit critical mass. At this point, we've hit critical mass of Hydras. Solar, he can just fight head on. And the longer this game goes on, the worse it is for Zoun. Remember, this is an all-in. If I didn't make that clear, like an AK 3-base all-in, it's really a 2.5-base all-in. It's all or nothing for Zoun. Lings, they try to come in from behind. Cheeky moves here by Solar. Cheeky moves. And Solar's teching. He's comfortable enough to tech. I believe he's got an Evo Chamber on the way. Yep, Evo Chamber, Hydra upgrades, Greater Hydra Concave. Now, I will say, even though Solar's building up his Hydra count, Zoun hasn't lost many Stalkers. Like, he's done a great job when it comes to preserving his Stalker count overall. So, Zoun, he still has potential. And he's getting on top of the Hydras. Where are the Zerglings? Okay, we need more Zerglings. Hydras are going down, one after the other. Wow, and Zoun is overwhelming. Where are the Lings? Oh, no. Solar, he needs support. These Hydras, that they cannot hold their own. Not by themselves, not like this. Yeah, without any Link support, there we go. He blinks on in. Zoun, he smells blood in the water. He overwhelms, he breaks on through. And with that, Zoun has done it. Zoun, he has broken Solar. The all-in works. GG, the 1G. The 1G out of Solar. And Zoun, he takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Solar, I'm a little bit surprised here. So very quickly, touching on what just happened towards the end there, Solar, he was doing well for himself. He was amassing his Hydras. He was holding on to the 3rd base. He was hitting critical mass of Hydra. He needed Link support. If you notice, Solar, he was getting Trouble Lords ready. He was getting Trouble Lords ready. He was investing into upgrades, into other Evo chambers. He was trying to tech up. He was confident. I don't blame him for being confident in that moment, but he was lacking Link support. You need those Zerglings to buffer for your Hydras. If you have Hydras on their own, they melt. Hydras, they made out of paper. They're made out of paper. They cripple real fast and real quick. They need that kind of buffer in front of them. Without it, we just crumble. And you saw that. You saw Solar just crumble before all those Stalkers. Again, we were praising Zoun for maintaining a Stalker count. That is true. And again, Solar, he was lacking those Ling reinforcements. Even though he had built up a solid core of Hydras, he still needed that kind of buffer. He still needed that support, and that was lacking towards the tail end, towards the past couple of minutes, towards the end of that game for Solar. That was lacking. With that, GG, well played. With that, Zoun, he does claim game number 1, and remember, this is a best of 3. It's a best of 3, by the way. He's 1 game away from advancing on to the winners match. We'll see if Solar can fight back. We'll see if we have a back and forth. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the let's go. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Mothership, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss leading the series 1-0. Representing onside, it is Zoun. In the bottom side, we have the red Zerg player. It is Solar. God. And GSL, they don't do intros. They do. Which is a shame. There's no room for fanfare, Pappy. No room. But they don't do intros. Feels bad, man. From here we are going to be opening up. And welcome to Mothership. Mothership is a 3-player spawn map. 3-player spawn map. Now, what I do love about Zoun is that despite the tendencies of Celestial Enclave, he went for an all-in, right? Like, Celestial Enclave is known for longer games, known for macro games. If you recall, I was curious, and I was thinking that Solar was going to be the aggressor to try to catch Zoun off guard, to try to stop a longer drawn-out game on Celestial Enclave, but instead it was Zoun subverting expectations, and instead of doing what is best on Celestial when it comes to building up your 3 and 4 bases and being more defensive and getting into Sky Toss, instead of doing what was expected of him, considering the advantages of the map, he instead went for the all-in to catch Solar off guard, to again subvert those expectations and to catch Solar with his pants down. And it somewhat worked. I don't think that Solar overdroned, by the way. I don't think he overdroned, and I feel like Solar, he was holding his own quite well initially for the first half or the first 3/4 of the defense. It's just towards the tail end where he did slip up, and where things got out of hand. But let's go. Let us go. There we go. Here we go. We are getting into game number 2 here, and because of the map itself, because of the 3-pro small map itself, it does mean there's a little bit of RNG when it comes to the early scouting if we're going for some aggression, but so far, standard openers, nothing crazy, nothing wild. I will say that this map is relatively open, and Zerg players have a decent time when it comes to engaging armies in the mid game and in the mid to late game as well, so it does make sense for Zola to allow this through. What we have also seen a lot of here on Mothership, because of the larger scale and the larger nature of the map itself, is Mutaplay. Mutaplay is also viable coming in towards the mid game. But once again, our eyes are on our tech of choice. It is going to be a Stargate opener out of Zoun, and Solar is just droning. So just like last game, we're looking for what comes first. Is it a Lair first, Eva Chamber, or a Roach Warren from Solar? Likewise from Zoun, we have to compare the timing of the Twilight Council to the Nexus. Remember, last game, immediately we noticed something was wrong when we noticed that the Twilight Council was earlier than normal before the 3rd expansion. That was, and also without the Forge, it screamed 8-gate all in from the beginning, but this time we'll see what he goes for. We don't really expect the same build, not 2 games in a row. This is where mind games come into play, and you can make an argument like, you know, it doesn't make sense to do it 2 games in a row, that's why you do it, and that's why you catch your opponent off guard. That can be applicable from time to time, can be applicable, but typically is ill-advised. As Zepse move in, they commit to the Shade. Ooh, no major damage yet though, one that does get picked up. Yeah, this was not worth it. Yeah, not worth it here. Both adepts go down, 0 drone kills. Ay. Zoun, he committed, he overextended. Not like this. Oh. Hold on, I'll lower the volume a little bit. As things they poke in, they catch a probe. So far, these are nice little wins here from Solar. They're nice wins. Oracle's kept at home to defend. Because of those 2 adepts going down, it means that Zoun has less to protect his 3rd. And he might even, barely will almost not lose that probe. Barely's going to be saved. Early Twilight Council. Okay. So once again, this Twilight Council is earlier than normal. We're leaning towards potentially Glaives. This could be Glaives, this could be early Blink. Eyes are on Zoun. What is important though, what I don't see is a Forge. Right now we can't see, there we go, there's a production tab, so there is no Forge on the way. Typically a Forge is for +1, is for the mid-game, a Blink Stalker play or mid-game charge lots. Without a Forge, we're leaning more towards either an 8-gate Blink all-in or Glaive Adepts. And there it is. Is this the same build 2 games in a row? No shot. Again, the lack of Forge leads us to believe that it is going to be the same build. Eyes on the gateways. Meanwhile, 4 drones going to be going down. Ooh, we throw away one of the oracles here. Down to 1 oracle. That means how much less support for the Blink Stalkers. There's 3 gates on the way. It's already done. That's going to be 5. That's going to be 6. So far, 6 gateways. It looks like the same build. It looks like an 8 gate. These are 6 gateways so far. We're expecting 2 more. We're expecting 2 more. Now, if we are, again, at this point, we are going for a 3 for the 2.5 base 8 gate all in. Now, the concern that I have here is without oracles, this is weaker, right? You saw it in the last game. Oracle support is so valuable. The pulsar beams, the stasis traps to help ensure that stalkers don't get surrounded by mass ling. Like the oracles, they have a very, very strong place when it comes to this build. And to lose 1 oracle already, like I'm not too confident in the strength of this build anymore. but we'll see. Oh, do you see what I see? Gases. So Adepts get surrounded. If you notice, we only got up to 6 gateways. There was no 7th and 8th gateway. No extra gateways. Instead, 2 more gases into a late Forge and late Temple Archives. So Zoun is teching. Zoun is teching up, but these upgrades are very late. These are very late upgrades for Zoun, very late tech, late gases. He did invest heavily here into these Stalkers, and he has to make this worth his while. It's a very messy game here for Zoun. He lost the Adepts earlier, late 3rd expansion, he lost the Oracle, he's going for late upgrades and late tech. He needs to be active, he needs to trade, he needs to find some damage with these Stalkers. But at the same time, Soul's going for mutas. We spoke about this at the start of the game. Muta play is very common on Mothership, and mutas can excel here. They can excel. The Oracle goes in for a scout, and do we get eyes on the Spire? The answer is no. No, we're moving the camera very erratically. Like we're we gotta learn how to pan, papi. Ay ay ay. I don't know who it is. It looks like maybe an ex-pro gamer. It's very similar. It's so good. And so now Solar, he does commit. He's moving out. Mutas are amassing. So far unscouted. But yeah, usually when pro gamers like observe, like they do this where we're like jumping around like very hard from place to place. As soon as they pick in, they're gonna be deflected. Nice, now the expansion. Does deny the 4th.
We meet our fate.
Yeah, the 4th base is denied. Muta play haven't dealt too much damage yet, but they're forcing Zoun to be contained. Zoun, he's already switching into Phoenixes. We have a 2nd target in the way, but we are committing into mass Muta. And so far, Zoun is holding his own. But he's contained, right? If we can contain Zoun and delay the 4th base, then Solar he can just outgrow, he can just overwhelm. Solar's almost maxed. He's almost maxed out. We got roaches on the way to help support. Solar up 60 supply. And again, Zoun, he's just stuck at home. It was just a really rough start to begin with. We spoke about it, right? We spoke about how he lost his early Adepts, he lost the early Oracle, his 3rd base was delayed. He went for like a heavy gateway commitment and delayed upgrades, and he never got to be active with the Stalkers, right? We didn't even get to point that out, but despite going for early Blink and committed Blink, he just didn't be active. He wasn't able to be active. So it's just been a really, really rough game here for Zoun from the beginning. And it means that Solar, yeah, he can mass expand. You can see he's just mass expanding. Taking all the bases. Storm does zone. And we should be able to get to a point where Solar can start trading inefficiently. I mean, you can argue he already is. You can, but Solar, he's working on his bank. He's slowly building up his bank. You just say cash out a couple of zealots. Against looking for a way in. Lings, they move in to deny the 4th base, and they will. He's going for the oh, he was trying to go with High Templar. Templar, they do manage to zone away once again, but the base is still denied. Zoun still cannot expand. Still cannot expand. And what is being done with all this time? Solar is taking his own expansions. He's taking up, getting more upgrades, working on +1 flyer carapace, working on Hydra range. So it looks like he might be getting ready for a lurker transition. Eventually, he has to get rid of these mutas. Eventually. There we go. Hydras are amassing, but here comes Zoun. He's all in. Yeah, it's all or nothing for Zoun. As Zoun, he has no expansion, he has no economy. This is it. This is his army. High Templar on their own. Oh, the Templar! No, the Templar, they're exposed. Oh, they do barely try to get away. One Templar goes down. He gets one. He gets two. He gets three. Oof. Yeah, forcing out every single storm. Storms are forced out. There's one storm left. You can see the High Templar barely alive on 1 HP. Barely alive. There's that final storm. No storms left. Solar, he has 44 Lings in production. More Hydras as well. Gee. God. The jump cuts, Bappy. Yeah, and with that, I mean, the Stalkers, they trade well. They're trading well. They're blinking back. They're trying to hold their own. Hydras are still amassing. Zoun, can he pull this off? Can he get into the heart of the army? Can he push into the natural? Against Solar, he had a bank, but his army's just trickling in. Wow, his army's trickling in. GG gets called down. He breaks on through. He overwhelms. And before Solar can really mass up his army, he was just trickling in. He was just trickling in Lings, trickling in Hydras. And Zoun, he 2-0s. GG. GG, well played. Again, Zoun was in a rough position. He had a shaky early game. He had a shaky mid game. He could not expand. He couldn't get a 4th base, but he built up a death bull of an army. And even then, it was a shaky push. Remember, running back here. Remember, Zoun, he was even forced to storm it efficiently. Like, he was forced to waste all of his storms. Despite that, the ground army for Solar was lacking. If you remember, we were talking about how the potential of Solar switching into lurkers and how that would make sense to switch into lurkers, to switch into a ground force that could actually hold on. But Soul didn't get there. He didn't have any lurkers. He didn't have a lurker den. He was working on Hydra upgrades, but that ground switch wasn't there. And the Mutas, they could not stop the main army, the main death bull of Stalkers and Archons. GG. GG, well played. Zoun, again, forced into the 2-base all-in, or sorry, into the 3-base all-in, forced to push, and he had enough to kill. GG. GG, well played. Impressive play there by Zoun. Solar forcing Zoun into a certain position, into a corner, and he couldn't deal with it. Zoun, he lashed out. He lashed out. He snowballed out of control. GG. GG, well played. With that, so we have our winners match available. Here we go. So it's going to be Zoun versus Rogue in the winners match. It is going to be Percival versus Solar in the elimination match. That's going to be a GSL qualifier rematch, by the way. That's going to be a rematch. Remember, Percival did defeat Solar to qualify for GSL, and they're going to have that rematch after the break. So we're going to be going on a short break here. When we come back, we'll have, I believe, Rogue versus Zoun up next. See you soon. See you soon after the break. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the 2026 GSL Season 1, Round of 12, Group A. I'm, of course, Joseph VIP, with me I'm joined by these amazing players and by the lovely people in the chat as well. Welcome one and all to the winners match. We just wrapped up with the first two series of the broadcast. Honestly, pretty fast. A lot of aggression, a lot of all-ins. We saw that from both Rogue and from Zoun as well. Zoun going intentionally for his 8-gate 2.5 base all-in Game 1, and Game 2 he was forced into a 3-base all-in after being denied the 4th base time and time again, building up his death pool and then forced to push out across the map. But now we have our winners match. The winner of the series will advance on into the round of 8. We'll advance on in GSL. We have Rogue, we have Zoun. Let's go. I'm curious as to what our quotes are going to be, if they've been changed at all, as we have our head-to-head. Okay, there's no stats coming to winners match, but we have our vetoes. Let's go. Let's take a closer look. Bam. Let's take a close look here. As you can see, we have Old Republic followed by White Rabbit and 10,000 feet. Interesting. Once again, we have pretty standard vetoes out of Zoun. Zoun, he does veto the more aggressive maps. He vetoes Ruby Rock and Tourmaline. Those are two of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. He's gotten rid of them, and he gets rid of Mothership, which has some RNG variants as well. Meanwhile, Rogue, he vetoes Winter Madness, Taito, and Celestial. If you remember, I was surprised that Solar let Celestial through. Rogue gets rid of it. Rogue gets rid of the macro maps. Let's go. In the right-hand corner, we do have the blue Zerg player. We have Rogue from South Korea. This time they give us more time. And in the bottom right corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player. The red Protoss for onside, it is Zoun. God, they just don't want to introduce the players. What the hell? Let's go. Once again, if you want to help support the tournament, if you want to help support GSL, you can do so via the Patreon, Patreon/GSL, to get a link to get the URL here to the Patreon for GSL to help support the tournament, help boost the prize pool, and allow for a Season 3 to come to fruition in 2026. So you can support the GSL via Patreon. It is available. Likewise, you get your own benefits as well. There are plenty of tiers, plenty of ways to support. As we are jumping into our first game of this series, here we go. We do have our initial hatch first by Rogue. We're assuming hatch gas pool. We'll keep an eye on the gas count to see if he does anything sinister. Likewise, Zoun going for a standard opener as well. Now, when it comes to Old Republic, this map does make sense for it to go through the veto process. Oh, we have some head-to-head actually here. Okay, Rogue 8-3 over Zoun. Very close. Oh, that's offline, I should say. Very close when it comes to online performances. True. Very close. When it comes to the Old Republic, it is a bit of a larger map, that is true, but it has an exposed 3rd and 4th base. The 3rd and 4th bases are more open, more exposed. Longer rush distance does help with that, but this is why it makes sense for a Zerg player, for example, to allow this map through the vetoes more so than the others. That's why I was surprised that Solar vetoed Old Republic in the last series, but it's available here for Rogue. Is available. And again, we're expecting a more standard opener out of Rogue in towards a standard mid-game, into aggression then in the mid-game, right? Into aggression, into 3-base play is what we expect on the Old Republic. Meanwhile, we'll see, as Zoun knows that, of course. At this point, we've kind of, gone through the maps and metas have been created and we have certain expectations as well. So we'll see if Zoun tries to, once again, tries to subvert those expectations and goes to something aggressive himself instead. And now Stargate open out of Zoun, building up into his own standard opener for the time being. Likewise, eyes are on Rogue when it comes to his own 3rd base timing. Just building up his queens, joining on up, and now expanding. Looks like Rogue, he delays his 3rd base in favor of an extra set of queens. Just playing it safe. And Rogue does expand. So from here, we are just going to be droning, saturating. It's going to be up to Rogue to keep up with the Adept and with the Oracle aggression. Oh, okay, this I like. We mentioned earlier that it's going to be up to Zoun to mix things up a little bit here and subvert those expectations, and he's going Void Ray first. Now, the goal of the Void Ray opener is to hunt down Overlords. Oh, Adept does not commit, but to hunt down Overlords, to deny vision, deny scouting, and as a result, hide something in the main base. By denying all that vision, we can, of course, throw down some hidden tech, like a second Stargate, a Fleet Beacon, a faster Twilight Council, or even just standard play. But the point, of course, being that Rogue wouldn't know what's going on. Whether it's something hidden, whether it's something aggressive, or whether it's something standard, Rogue would be in the dark. So the Void Ray does move out. is hunting down those overlords. And we'll find one. It does find the initial overlord. We have the Oracle follow-up. Zoun going for a bit of a later third. Rogue does move into delay, but at a turn position. Oh, did they get surrounded? They do not. Whew. Quick reaction, quick moves out of Zoun. Does pull away, doesn't get surrounded. And so far, so good. Yeah, Zoun, he maintains his third base. As you can see, when it comes to the tech, when it comes to the build itself, this is a standard third base timing into... Oh, this is an early Twilight Council. Okay, early Council... I'm leaning towards either Glaives or Blink. We have been seeing a lot of early Blink out of Zoun. Both games against Solar, we did see early Blink. So, could be early Blink again, or Glaive Adepts. Those are the two things that come to mind. What is bolstering that idea is the lack of Forge. Lack of Forge, lack of upgrades, lack of +1 means more aggression. So, a much more aggressive build here by Zoun. With the extra earlier 2 gateways, I'm still leaning towards Glaives here. But again, he's been very fun to Blink. It's still either or. We'll see. The Oracle does poke in, pokes in, going for the stasis, and no reaction. Rogue, he's distracted. No, Rogue is distracted, and the stasis goes off, catching half the mineral line. Rogue was focusing on the Void Ray. The Void Ray did distract. Extra gateways being thrown out. It is going to be Blink, but that's 4 gates on the way. 2 gates already done. 6-gate Blink Stalker. We are expecting 2 more gateways. Just like game 1 against Solar, it looks like an 8-gate all-in. 8-gate Blink Stalker all-in, I should say. Assuming we do throw down 2 gateways. Now, to be fair, against Solar, in game 2, Zoun did go for later gases and did go for a very late Forge and late Temple Archives. There it is. Okay, late Forge, late Temple Archives. I assumed that this was going to be an 8-gate all-in that we saw game 1 against Solar, but no, this is going to be 6-gate Blink into delayed tech. This is also in game 2 versus Solar on Mothership. So it's interesting that we're seeing this, the intentionality behind this build. I thought that against Solar, it was like a haphazard, kind of like messy, like weird variation. But again, it looks like this is very intentional. When it comes to what this build allows for, early Blink and the heavy gateway count means that Zoun can be active and aggressive and apply pressure, but it means that he isn't all in, right? He's taking his gases, he's going for delayed gases, delayed upgrades. It does mean that his upgrades are much later. That is true, but allows him to be active a lot earlier without being all in. So it feels like an interesting build, a little bit middle of the road, assuming that he makes use of his Blink timing. That is the assumption. As Blink is on the way. When it comes to this build specifically, something that I should mention, and again, we cast more StarCraft than anyone else out there, I haven't seen anyone else do this. Like, I have not seen this build from Hero, from Classic, from Max Packs, for example. Like, this build feels very unique. What we're seeing specifically here in Game 1 versus Rogue and what we saw in Game 2 versus Solar. But that might also be the fact that we don't really get to cast much PvZ in, like, period. When it comes to most StarCraft events, like, PvT is the predominant matchup, and PvZ matchups are a little bit more rare. So it's possible that this has actually gone through some of the other pro players, at least on the ladder, for example, but hasn't been showcased too much when it comes to these bigger events. Or it could just be a Zoun thing, right? Because it could be. It could be a Zoun thing. We'll see. As we do see Rogue, he is committing into a heavy Roach army. Hydras are massing as well. Rogue, he's committing. Rogue, he does drone up to almost 4 base saturation. He's got 72 workers. But what I find interesting is that Rogue, he's not droning. Rogue, he's intentionally not droning up. He's getting a handful of upgrades. He's getting +1 range. He's getting Roach speed and Hydra speed. But it looks like Rogue is going for a massive timing here early on, staying on a low worker count and committing. Basically, Rogue is going all in. That's why you can see Rogue spike up in supply. It's a very inefficient army. It's very Roach heavy, but it's designed to kill, right? Like, Rogue, he has no intention to last for the game to last any longer. Meanwhile, Zoun is taking up into the Fleet Beacon, taking up into Sky Toss. Can he survive? It's going to be a tough hold. It's going to be a tough hold because here comes Rogue. He's maxed. Rogue is maxed out. He's all in. Again, purely Roach Hydra. Storms will help. It does end the first. But again, there's just a sea of roaches coming his way. It might just be too much. Yeah, the side defense is not yet done. The Wiles don't quite connect. Storms, we do land a couple of storms here. There's what, 2 or 3 storms left. But nice spread here by Rogue. Oh, does go back in though. Yeah, it goes back into the storms. Storms are gaining value over time, but that's it. That's the final storm. And with that, the roaches are breaking through. Stalkers are going to be going down. I say that, but Rogue, he's running out of roaches. Yeah, he's slowly running out of roaches here. It's still quite close. Another storm. Again, that was the final storm here. There's not enough. Yeah, there's not enough on the ground. Cannons and shield barriers were just too little too late, and Ro12 breaks the low ground. And we spoke about it earlier, but the fourth base specifically on the Old Republic is exposed, right? It's more difficult to defend the fourth base than than any other maps, really. Compared to Winter Madness, compared to Celestial Enclave. The force hasn't broken, and with that, Rogue, he has done it. He's snowballing out of control. He breaks on through Zoun. He was trying to take up into Skytoss, but he won't be able to get there. He will not get there. It's not going to happen. GG gets called, and Rogue, he takes game number 1. Ooh, GG. GG, well played. Rogue, he does meet those expectations. As you mentioned, this kind of aggression on a 3 and 4 base setup is very common. Very, very common on the Old Republic. Specifically, this map, that low ground expansion is just so difficult to defend. It's so difficult. So we see a lot of Ling Hydra all-ins, Ling Bane Hydra all-ins, Roach all-ins, as you saw, Roach Hydra all-ins as well. Like, we see a lot of heavy commitment where we're not really ready for a longer game. We're not taking up in towards lurkers or another expansion, droning up to 80 workers, getting greater upgrades. Like, nah, not at all. We're just cutting workers earlier, committing across the map, focusing on maxing out with even like a cheaper army just to overwhelm, just through sheer numbers, break the defending Protoss player. And we saw that unfold then and there. GG. GG, well played. Once again, this build from Zoun, I'm still not convinced by. Like, we saw it in game 2 against Solar. It quote-unquote worked, but I wouldn't say it was because of the build. Like, it was a very unique situation. Here against Rogue, we built up to 6 gateways early on. We got early blink. We delayed the upgrades. What did that achieve? Right? That's what I'm still trying to wrap my head around when it comes to this build. Like, what was the purpose of getting up to 6 gateways that early on and building up those stalkers where we're not being active? We're not being active. We're not being aggressive. Zoun, he didn't really have a presence on the map like I was expecting. But here we go. Top right, we have Zoun. Bottom left, we have Rogue. So getting into game número 2. So on this build that we've been seeing specifically from Zoun in ZVP or in PvZ, I'm still not entirely sold on. I'm still not like it feels like the best case scenario here is to defend against a 2 base all-in, just because a blink finishes early and you have extra gateways. So if the Zerg player were to go for, say, like a German taxi, which is a 2 base all-in, or just to keep it on 2 bases and to be hyper aggressive very early on in the mid game, then I do think that Zoun would have the advantage against that. But the problem is that the meta doesn't really allow for that anymore. The meta is all about 3 base all-ins, like 3 base all-ins, 3.5 base all-ins, which we just saw last game as well. These hit a lot later, and because of that, like, the early blink that we're seeing from Zoun that's meant to be more defensive isn't really coming into play. Like, there's not really as much value. There's more value, I would say, in taking up faster and getting your upgrades faster than it is getting your extra gateways and getting your blink as quickly as we are. So I'm not entirely sold on that build from Zoun. I think that there's value in it on smaller maps. I think it makes more sense on Ruby Rock because there's a higher chance that you do have those 2 base all-ins on Ruby Rock and on Tourmaline. Like, going for early blink, like, in a safer manner makes sense there. But on larger maps, like, I don't see as much value in it. At least so far. You know, maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll be convinced otherwise as we're loading into White Rabbit. White Rabbit is a larger map of the map pool, longer rush distance by ground. What I will say is that because of the size of the map and the distance between bases, this does allow for some interesting mid to late game. It does mean that rotating between bases defensively can actually be quite difficult. Can be quite difficult to rotate to keep up with your opponent's aggression. We have been seeing many players outpositioned in longer and later games, and we're going to be favoring Rogue in that sense, in that longer and later game when it comes to pulling apart his opponents and being hyper aggressive. We're expecting something similar this time out of Rogue, to build up to like 70 plus workers, under 80, to commit with a mid-tier army, with a lair tech army, and to be aggressive with that. There's a chance that, of course, maybe Rogue tries to be greedy and tech up into hive faster and lurkers faster. We have seen that from Rogue before. Muted play is also viable here as well. Rogue has options. Rogue has options. Meanwhile, Zoun, he is going for his own Stargate. So Stargate open out of Zoun into a 3rd base. Everything's looking normal so far. We'll see if once again Zoun goes for a delayed forge. Like, we've been seeing later forges and later upgrades out of Zoun every game so far, against Solar and against Rogue. So we shall see. Eyes are on Zoun to see if that trend continues. For now, though, Oracle is on the way. So Stargate into Oracle, likewise Adept does poke in. Adept pokes in, pulls away. Nothing major here. Again, you don't want to be losing these adepts early on as Zoun. If you do lose them, that will expose your third expansion and make it vulnerable to Ling aggression. So Zoun turns around. Does turn around. It does end up zoning back one of those overlords. May hunt it down, as it is getting quite low. Probe moves into expand, and the Oracle is at home to defend. So the Oracle should be okay. And Lings are deflected. The Overlord should fall. One more volley. Oh, no shot, he gets away. Yeah, the Stalker will eventually hunt it down. And we have an early chamber this time out of Rogue. Okay, I know we've been focusing a lot on what Zoun's builds have been, and we haven't really been focusing too much on the tech of choice from Rogue. But this game, early Eva chamber, this should be for plus on melee. Should be plus on melee into a Ling heavy style. This time, not roaches. That's usually what early Eva chamber means. Yep, and as you can see on the production tab, there's that plus one melee. Again, if you're seeing an early Eva chamber in ZVP, it screams plus one melee, it screams Ling heavy style. This can be for, ooh, that's an early nest. That's interesting. Early nest here from Rogue. So he's going Ling Bane, most likely Ling Bane Hydra, but we'll keep an eye on Rogue. The earlier nest might be for a greater Ling Bane heavy composition into earlier tech. Meanwhile, this time, finally, Glaive Adepts. Early Twilight Council, no Forge. I don't know if you noticed, but time and time again, I keep bringing up the idea of Glaive Adepts because of this build, and we just keep seeing Blink, but finally Glaive Adepts are on the way. So hyper aggression here by Zoun. Remember, this is not an all-in. This is Glaive Adepts as we're expanding and getting a third base, but this is very aggressive. This is very committed, and if this fails to get damage done, then Zoun will fall behind because he is sacrificing his Forge, his Blink, his tech in favor of Glaives. So he falls behind in every other aspect. He needs to get damage done with this. Meanwhile, the early Baneless means that Rogue has a way to defend. Roaches are ideal against Glaive Adepts, but Banelings can do the job as well. Banelings, they can be good enough. As we should be banking up those adepts in the main bases. Yet to be revealed. Lings, they try to engage, but again, it's so far a better trade. Here come the mass adepts, though. They're shading across, I believe, so far unscouted. Now they're being spotted by the Overlord and by the Zergling. Yeah, now Rogue knows. Yeah, now Rogue is fully aware. We have 20 Lings in production. More Banelings are being focused on by the Oracles. Okay, not bad. Gets 1, 2, 3 Banelings. Decent pickups. We're coming in with this round. Banelings are going to be looking to crash in. And he does force the shade to be cancelled. Two adepts, they do shade into the mineral line. Plenty of Lings to deal with this. And Zoun is getting 0 damage. Remember, we spoke about this, but Zoun, he's sacrificing so much for this aggression for these adepts. He needs more value here. He needs more damage, and so far he's being denied. He's being denied. Plus one melee is done. Zoun turns around, and Rogue, he defends. And now Rogue has enough to counterattack. He has enough. Now, did Rogue cut workers too soon? He did cut workers at 58. He's now starting to drone up a little bit. He's droning up. There's no further tech to commit to an all-in, so from here we just macro. We're macroing up from here. Rogue will apply some pressure. I believe Storm is done. I believe. Getting us up with the gateways. Doesn't quite bring them down. Meanwhile, we have the answer when it comes to the tech of choice. Going for the Hydrogen. Interesting. Going for Pneumatized Carapace. That typically means drop lords. Means we're getting ready for some drop play. That'll be a good way to make use of all these Zerglings. To drop into mineral lines and to find some damage. That's a lot of Templar amassing. Speaking of, as we did mention, they're the drop lords in production. Again, you don't get Overlord speed at this level of play unless you plan on going for drop play. Or in other niche circumstances. Meanwhile, Zoun, he is now being active with his adepts. Pushing up with the entire army, actually. Okay, early push. Early push, early timing. Zoun does not expand. Yeah, very unorthodox timing here from Zoun. And does he catch Rogue with his pants down? Rogue is still building up his Ling Bane. Rogue, he droned up to 82. Zoun, he commits. He's pushing in. At the same time, we do have the drop. Yeah, here comes the main drop into the mineral line. Rogue, he does react in time. Good reactions. Rogue pulls away, and he commits in. Banelings they will connect. Archons they need to tank. Yeah, so far we get some decent control. Oh, no, the Banelings! Banelings they crash in. They shut down the Adepts. Archons are on their own, and there's some brutal connections here. Yeah, Zoun completely cleaned up. Rogue, he dominates the fight. Again, had plenty to work with. He did not overdrone. He wasn't too greedy. He still had plenty of Lingbane left over from earlier, and that was it. Like that's all the Zoun had. That's all he had to work with, Vappy. Once again, trying to harass across the map. But remember, Zoun, he did forego a fourth. Like, there's no fourth expansion, there's no macro, there's no follow-up here. Zoun was all in. It was all in with that push. It was a very unorthodox timing, and again, it was designed to catch Rogue being greedy, but Rogue wasn't greedy. Yeah, it wasn't greedy in the end. Catching out the Zealots, pushing into the natural, knocking down the Cybercore. No battery to defend. And Rogue has done it. Rogue he has done it. He breaks, he busts into the main, baits out the stasis traps one after the other. Across the map, we do get a couple of warp-ins here. Zoun causing some chaos across the map, but only some. Oh, God. Plenty of Lingbane. And he breaks through. He breaks on through. There's one more stasis in the main base. Once again, gets baited. Storm is almost done. I assume Storm was done earlier, to be honest, if you recall. I swear I saw it in the production tab. But maybe it was cancelled. And GG. Yeah, GG gets called. There's just nothing left here. And Rogue, he will claim the series 2-0. Rogue, he will advance on into the round of 8. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Rogue, he'll be the first player to make it through, coming out in first place in Group A of GSL. Congratulations. Congratulations here to Rogue. Again, Zoun, he did have some quirky builds. I'm still not sold on the build that we saw in Game 1. Going up to 6 gateways into Blink on 3 bases, into Delayed Forge and Delayed Temple Archives. I'm still not sold on that build, to be honest. I'm not entirely convinced. But here in Game 2, we did see him go into something more committed, Glaive Adepts. And we did try to point that out, did fall behind as the Glaive Adepts did 0 economic damage. So it was brutal, committed into Glaives. Glaives didn't do enough. He went for the follow-up Archon charge out all in on 3 bases, no 4th expansion. And again, that was designed to catch a Zerg player being greedy. If Rogue was droning up too hard, rushing up into Hive Tech and Infestation Bit, into Lurkers, then he would have died then and there. But he was staying on a Lair Tech composition. He was staying on Lingbane Hydra. He had enough army. He shut it down. GG. GG, well played. And I believe we're having a winner's interview. Do we have audio? I don't think we do.
일단 이방현 선수 승리 축하드리고요. 일단 첫 번째 질문은 정재영 선수와의 이제 1세트 대결에서 이제 전진 부하장을 펼치셨는데
Take it away, Maddox. Take it away.
이상한 위치에 일단 좀 지으셨어요. 일단 되게 좀 숨겨서 좀 지으시려고 했던 것 같은데 그때 좀 상황을 좀 한번 얘기를 해주시죠.
일단 정재영 선수가 SCB 서치를 주로 하다 보니까 그 SCB 서치 타이밍에 안 걸리게끔 지었고, 만약에 이제 앞마당을 지을 때 이제 딱 그때 걸리면 제가 상황이 되게 괜찮은데 그 앞마당에 서플 때 걸렸나? 그래가지고 좀 애매했던 것 같아요.
Yeah, Percival sent a SCV out, so I wanted to not to get seen first, but then I got caught when actually he went down to build a supply depot, so I think that went a little awkward.
It's a reference to Game 1. So, it sounds like the English casters are asking questions. They're conducting the interview, and Maddox is translating. But because we don't have the English casters audio, we can't hear the question being asked. So we don't know we can hear the answer and the translated answer, but we don't know the question. Let's go. Let's go.
이번에 좀 선보이셨는데 특히나 이제 바퀴 개멸충을 좀 위주로 이렇게 공격적인 푸시를 좀 선보이신 것 같아요. 이번 GSL에서는 좀 이런 공격적인 스타일을 좀 기대해 볼 수 있을까요?
아무래도 온라인 대랑은 다르게 이제 시간도 많고 빌드를 준비할 시간이 되게 많다 보니까, 그래서 이제 상대가 이제 되게 약한 스타일들을 제가 그 스타일 위주로 연습을 되게 많이 하다 보니까 이렇게 된 것 같아요.
Yeah, compared to other online tournaments, GSL has plenty of time to prepare builds and kind of a lot of strategies. So I think that's why I'm kind of showing off these kind of builds. Yeah, I think that's the difference.
Mhm. Okay, okay. We do have permission to show the actual event, the main feed.
이제 8강 진출하게 되셨는데 이제
Sorry,
팬분들께
I'll try to
뭐
switch to
각오라든지 좀 이번 8강에서 좀 어떤 모습을 보여주실지 좀 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
8강 1등으로 진출해가지고 조가 되게 어려운 조가 돼가지고 좀 남은 솔직히 좀 보완해가지고 잘할 자신은 없는데 또 재밌는 경기 보여드릴 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Well, ironically, going to first place means I got into difficult group in round of 8. But so that being said, I'm really lack of confidence right now. But well, I'll try my best, prepare a lot to show a good games.
Thank you so much for the interview. Best of luck in your future matches.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, well that's Rogue, and
Well,
actually
you know,
Darcy
it's-
just said that he has a lack of confidence. Could you believe that?
Yeah, I can.
He played. He looked so.
I believe that. I believe that. But I'll do a better job next time. So next time we do have permission to show the main feed and hear the main feed audio. I'll just switch to them, I guess, next time for the next interview. I'll be on that. I'll be on that. Otherwise, with that, shout out to Rogue. Again, he was explaining a little bit when it came to some of his thought process coming into some certain games. I would have appreciated to have heard a little bit more regarding Rogue when it comes to like the matchups even as well, coming into the previous games. But regardless, GG well played. Oh my god. Regardless, GG well played. With that, we are wrapping up our winners match. Up next is going to be the elimination match. It's going to be a best of 3 between Solar and Percival. Again, that's going to be a rematch. Bearing in mind that Percival did bring down Solar earlier in the qualifier to make it into GSL. So we'll see if Percival can do it again. We'll see if Solar can get his revenge. For now, we're going to be coming to a break, and we'll see you guys soon after the break. See you soon.
GSL Season 1.
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the 2026 GSL Season 1 Ro12 Group A broadcast. We are back. We just wrapped up with the winners match, and Rogue, he's advanced on in first place out of Group A, and now we are here to determine who is going to be eliminated first in Group A as well. We have Percival and Solar. Percival, he went down to Rogue earlier in the broadcast in a very short, very swift series. Likewise, Solar went down to Zoun earlier as well, and now one of these two players is going to be stepping out of GSL. Let's go. Oh, the smooch. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. As we have Percival once again just engulfed in the darkness. Ay. The smooch is overtaking. In comparison to Razzicata Solar, who's embraced in light. True. Let's get true. There it is. So again, we have our two players here. One of these two is going to be knocked out of GSL, and this is a rematch. If you missed it, I do recommend the VOD. So we did cast the GSL qualifiers last week, and we actually casted these two in the qualifiers, and Percival did defeat Solar. To qualify for GSL. Percival, he did it last week. Can he do it this week again? Can he cause another upset? Bearing in mind that Solar is a veteran in StarCraft, in GSL, Percival, he is a bit of a newer face. He's much more inexperienced, at least when it comes to the GSL stage, and we'll see how he performs here and now. I feel like Percival, he wasn't really able to embrace and get into his own game against Rogue. He was able to end the games real fast and real quick with all-ins before Percival could really spread his wings. I will say that he should have an easier time against Solar. Let's go. Let's jump on in. As in the top left-hand corner of Mothership, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran. It is Percival. And in the top right, we do have his opponents. We do have the South Korean Zerg player. It is Solar. Let's go. Let us go. As we are settling into our game. We are settling into our series. Once again, to reiterate, Percival, his strengths lie in the mid game, and remember, he never got there. He never got there against Rogue. He was just hyper aggressive and hyper all in, and Percival, he just wasn't able to play his own game. He wasn't able to play any StarCraft, Ay. Could not even play. We'll see if that trend continues here. We'll see how Solar will adjust. Solar, he's a much more standard player. That's why I mentioned that Percival should have an easier time against Solar. Not saying that Solar's an easy opponent, but saying that Percival can actually play to his strengths against Solar. True. Can play to his strengths. So now we are going to be building up. We do have our hatch pool open out of Solar. Delayed gas. Interesting. Delayed gases here out of our Zerg player. Later gas means most likely earlier tech. So we're thinking earlier Ro12, earlier Lair instead. How does that kind of come together? How does that make sense if you're delaying your gas? Well, delayed gas means we're skipping link speed. That's usually what that means. We're going to be skipping link speed and going for an earlier Ro12 or earlier Lair, as we're going to be spending that gas elsewhere. Here we go. Oh. As we go, as the first Reaper does move out across the map, bearing in mind we are on a 3-player small map, and Percival, he does find Solar. Does find him, does poke in. Right, we're locked in, Pappy. But does poke in, does disrupt some of the early game here, but overall Solar, he's maintaining himself, and again, we're most curious about where that gas is going to be spent. Again, we're looking for either an early Ro12 or an earlier Lair. Eyes are on Solar. We do see that Percival is checking for the third. Third is suspiciously delayed, so no third expansion. Third is late. Lings they poke in to disrupt the initial opener. Going to be shut down. And no third expansion site. Again, this is very unusual, very unorthodox for Solar. We're reaching up to 3 minutes. We're almost there. Solar, he has 100 gas. And there it is, fast lair. As we mentioned, it's going to be a 3-7 lair timing, 307. Very early on, hyper aggression. With the early lair, we're leading towards either a Ro12 in or Spire play. Technically, this could be a Link Queen Idol in, I suppose. True. We got a couple of options. And Percival, he hasn't seen the lair itself, but he sees no third expansion. So he knows, like, he knows that something is wrong, something is amiss, something doesn't quite fit here, and Solar is going for a Ro12 in. Roach 1 is on the way, and just like with Rogue, what we saw previously in the previous series, this is lining up in such a way to get the Roach 1 out and start Roach speed as quickly as possible with that fast lair. So fast lair into fast Roach speed, into a fast Roach timing, into fast Ro12 in. Let's go. Percival sets the pieces together. As you mentioned, this could still be this could still be like a Link Queen Nidasoul, and it could still be 2-base Muta. So Percival, he has to confirm, and he might just sacrifice. He might just dive. Nope. Pokes in, pulls away. Percival is deflected. Do we hold on to a scan? Do we burn a scan to scout? It's always a risk, right? It's always a risk, always a gamble. Does scout the third base is finally on the way. It is late. It is delayed, but there's a third. There's that Roach speed, as we mentioned. So fast Roach speed. Percival going double eBay, getting to zone 1-1-1. I'm still concerned for Percival, as Rogue he'll soon commit. And +1 carapace. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the same build that that Rogue went for in game. Was it game 1 or game 2 against Percival? But it was the same build. I mean, I say that it was a 317 lair timing, I believe, is what Rogue went for. So 317. I think it was game 1. But that also began with a proxy hatchery, so it was really unorthodox. It was regardless. Percival's moving out. He's trying to be active somewhat at least. Bearing in mind that because of the build of choice, Percival, he's vulnerable to the Roach Ravager, and Solar, he's getting ready for his all-in. You can see he's amassing more Roaches, more Ravagers as well. Upgrades are almost done. Speed just now finishes. Carapace still on the way, and you can see that Solar's not droning. Solar, he's not droning. He's cutting workers at 52. Cutting workers early. And it's soon going to be go time. And again, Percival, he is vulnerable to this all-in. He's got his first tank on the way. Depending on the positioning, maybe Percival can hold on, but here comes Solar. Solar, he's pushing. Solar, he is moving in, knocking down that front door. The first tank has arrived, but it's on the high ground. We got to reposition, and that's what 1, 2, 3, 4 free depots. First team is revealed. Tank on the high ground. Nice tank shots. Okay, very nice tank shots. The Wilds. Yeah, you can see the tank reposition. Ravagers, they tried to go for the piles. He's now moving in. While on the ramp. Ooh, nice splits. Nice spread. Yeah, nice spread here, but so many SCVs are going down. That's going to be 16 dead SCVs. Ay, ay, ay. Behind this, Solar's droning. So unlike Rogue, Solar, he's droning up behind this. So he's not 100% all in. He's droning up. He's saturating. He denies the third base. He kills 16 SCVs. He contains Percival on a low base count, while Solar drones up heavily behind this, getting up to 70 workers and working towards the pit, working towards what should be safety infestors. That should be. Again, efficient trades here from Solar. Percival, he's desperate for damage. The desperation, baby. The real question becomes, are we ever going to see any Ling Bane in tonight's broadcast? Are we going to... against Bias specifically. We did see Ling Bane against Protoss, against Zoun earlier. But it's been heavy Roach Ravager play. Marines, they stim in. They do get one of the Ravagers. You can see Link speed is on the way, +1 carapace. We are switching from the initial Roach Ravager all-in into Ling Bane Roach Ravager with Infestor support as well. Here comes that Hive. The big power spike for Solar should be Ultra Tech. Should be Hive into Ultras. You see that Hive is in production. and Ultra should be on the horizon. And because of all the economic damage that Percival has sustained so far in this game, the ability to take up into Marauders, into Ghosts, into Liberators is not really there. Like, again, like Percival, he just has to recover, has to stabilize first, and by the time he does, ideally Solar has his Hive Tech ready, has his Ultras ready, and there it is. There's that Ultra Cavern. Again, Roach Ravager as an opener into Fast Hive screams Ultra Tech. The Ultras are coming. And it's going to take a while for the Ultras to come online, but it's going to be a very strong power spike. And again, the likelihood of Percival being ready for the Ultras is very low because of how difficult the early game and the mid game has been. Because of how shaky it's been. Now, it's not impossible. Percival, he's being active with the drops, and there's a world where if he can get a mineral line, if he can kill some drones, get a mineral line, maybe even get into the main, and maybe even snipe some tech, then there is a way for Percival to recover. But again, things are heavily in favor of Solar here. Like Percival, he needs damage. Here, he trades well against some Lings. He does get into a mineral line. 6 drone kills, not bad. 9 drones, 10, 11. Oh my god, the focus firing. The target firing, it's a rough trade here. 12 drones go down, not bad. It is some damage here. It's okay, not amazing though. We need more. Like this is a good start. I shouldn't downplay it too much. Like that was a good start. 12 drones. But Percival, he still needs more damage. The issue is that he lost a lot of Marines in the process. And right now he's in a position where he can afford to throw that away. He's not on 4 bases. He can't afford these trades. So it's still very shaky. So very shaky. It's still a dire position for Percival. He's now moving in. Dancing with the army. The Ultras are revealed, of course, and now we're pushing. Yeah, Solar's maxed. Solar, he's maxed out. This is his power spike. And what is it to defend? 0 Liberators, 0 Ghosts. We have 11 Marauders. That is nice and all. Like, that's good. But we need more than that. Oh no, the medevac. Ooh, medevac goes down. Yeah, job is dealt with. Here comes Solar. Fungal does graze. Does graze the army. Tanks are exposed. 1, 2 tanks go down. Yeah, brings down 2 tanks, bringing down the 3rd tank as well. Army is split, army is spread. Ooh, the fungals are connecting. The vials as well. And Solar's overwhelming. He's overwhelming the army here. Catching out another tank. Liberator finally arrives. But this is after Percival's lost his main army. Yeah, the main army was lost. Nice snipe here on that Ultra. And Soul's still rallying. He's just still rallying across the map at this point. And he's rallying across another fungal. More Marauders falling. Again, there's a way directly into the natural. And Solar, he sends it back. He takes out another tank. Yeah, more tanks are going down. Busts into the mineral line. Yeah, he does bust in. With that Percival, he's barely holding on to that natural, but he'll still lose every worker at the 3rd. 29, 30 SCV kills, insane damage. And even though Percival, he's quote-unquote holding on, like, it's still not enough. Yeah, it's still not enough here. In the end, Solo was still overwhelmed. And again, this all just came down to the early game. It just came down to the start. It came down to the early Roach Ravager all-in from Solar and just how much damage he had dealt. It was enough to cripple. It was enough to cripple Percival, and it allowed for this follow-up Ultra timing to excel as well as it is. To excel, to overwhelm. It was the 1-2 punch, Bappy. As you mentioned, there was potential with Percival's drop play. There's always potential with that, but again, not enough. 12 drone kills was nice, but not enough to recover. In the end, it was not enough. Likewise, Morling, Runwise, Morling, counterattacks. I mean, first of all, he's hanging in there as best he can. Applying some pressure, being somewhat active, maintaining his fourth at least a little bit, but it's still such an uphill battle. It is still looking dire. Yes, here comes the final push. Now we've built up to what, 5-6 ultras. Lings they move in once again. Percival just doesn't have the supply to defend multiple locations at once. Doesn't have the supply for it. Even going for the CC. Oh my god, he kills! He kills the command center. GG gets called, and Solar, he will take game number 1. GG. GG well played. Solar, he will take a lead in the series, and Percival again having a rougher start here. I feel like Rogue has exposed some vulnerabilities. Rogue being hyper aggressive and hyper all in his matchup, we have some kind of like tendencies. We have some echoes of that here from Solar, also going for the same build that Rogue went for previously, going for that early Roach all in, going for the early lair into early Roach timing. Of course, the difference here is that Solar did transition out of it, whereas Rogue doubled down. But again, so far, rough position here. Game 2 is going to be a Winter Madness. Game 3 is going to be a Ruby Rook. Oh boy. We'll see. We'll see if Percival can bring it back. Again, I'm hoping for the ace match. I want to see it back and forth. So far, tonight's broadcast has been nothing but all-ins. Nothing but all-ins, which has been the trend when it comes to recent meta in StarCraft. A lot of all-ins, hyper-aggression. Hoping that mold is broken here, but we'll see if Percival can get into the mid-game. We'll see if he can. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. It is Percival. Top left, we have the South Korean Zerg. It is Solar. Here we go. We have Percival, we have Solar. We have our two players here. Solar, he is up in the series, of course. He is one game away from making it through into the decider match. Into that rematch against Zoun. Here we go. For now, though, we are going to be opening up. We have our openers at least. Once again, as we mentioned previously, Percival, he thrives in the mid game. He just hasn't gotten there at all against any Zerg opponent tonight. Against Rogue and Solar, they've both been going for all-ins, both been hyper aggressive, and Percival just cannot get into a comfortable and a stable mid game. But this map does favor Percival. Welcome to Winter Madness. Winter Madness, this is one of the more defensive maps in the map pool. Larger map, defensive map. The likelihood of Percival getting into the mid game with a stable economy is much, much higher here. Is much higher, and Solar goes for a hatch gas pool. Standard opener out of Solar. This bodes well for Percival, and soon we'll be able to see what he's made of. We can see how he made it to GSL, how he brought down Solar in the qualifiers. This is Percival's time to shine. This is his game. We'll see if he can lock in. We shall see. Yes, from here we're just going to be droning, saturating, building up into our early game. We do have our racks into factory here from Percival. Do apologize for sometimes the quality dipping down. It just keeps happening randomly. Like it's a little bit annoying. When it comes to the clean feed, I'll try to stay on top of that whenever I notice it. But the quality has been inconsistent. I'll do my best. In general, they do have some interesting settings for the cast. I don't know if you noticed, but they have some effects turned off. It looks like some of the shading is a little bit weird as well. It's what we're used to. Regardless. Regardless, we are going to be opening up. We do have our initial third base being taken, of course. And meanwhile, we have a proxy starport out of Percival. Okay. This is often something reserved for TVP, but I believe the goal here should be to go for a Hellion drop. I believe it's for a Hellion drop into the natural. We'll see if we can commit something more sinister here into a tech lab. But yeah, this is different. This is different. This is unusual for the matchup itself. Yep, it is going to be the Hellion drop. 4 Hellions, they can one-shot drones. And there's potential, but this is a big risk. It's a big gamble. We'll see if Percival can pull this off. We'll see if he does pull this off. Hellions are amassing, waiting for the medevac. Lingze will miss the proxy, just barely. Just barely does miss. Oh no, he sees, he scouts, he knows, and now he can get ready. Yeah, now the Queens should be getting in position. It was a big risk here from Percival. He gets found out. And now likelihood of getting any damage done is quite low. Oof. Yeah, it is going to be lower here. I'm loving the Ro12 response. Now, okay, there's a lot going on. For now, the Hellions, they rotate, they look for a way in. We do have the drop into the mineral line. Queens are keeping up. Drones pull away. Good reactions. Ro12 gets scouted. Now, the reason why the Ro12 is a really good response here is because of a couple of things. One, a standard 1-1-1, where's that lead? That leads into Banshee play. It does allow for Banshees. Here, because of the proxy medevac and because the starport right now is in the air floating back home, there are no Banshees. So Roaches can excel. Roaches can excel. Lings get us around. No, they get on top of the Marines, getting on top of the SCVs as well. Yeah, 4 SCV kills. Hellion drop back into the mineral line, gets 1 drone, only 1. Medevac is low. Yeah, the medevac is getting low. In the end, Solo, he does come out on top. And Percival, he's vulnerable to a Roach push. As Roaches are amassing back across the map. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Percival delayed his 3rd CC. It's just out on the way. Very late 3rd. Very late 3rd expansion here. So Percival, he's very committed on 2 bases. Bunkers are on the way. Percival, he at least saw the Roach horn, so he knows he's vulnerable. And I love this out of Solar. Solar knows he got scouted. He just sees the bunker and he drones. Solar, he's droning, he's taking. He made a handful of roaches, but he's not going to commit. There's no need to. Like right now, Percival, he's hyper scared. He's hyper defensive. And Soul's just droning. Now's the time to drone to get a 4th base to tech up. Roaches, sure, they're applying some pressure here. Tank production has been delayed. We'll lose 1 roach. This breakout will force a reaction, catching out 1, 2, 3 roaches. 4 roaches, not bad. 4 roaches go down. Sully has to get the hell out of here. 9 more roaches in production. Building up his roaches. First, he rotates. And he rotates over. Delays the 4th, dropping into the main. Percival, he has potential. Solo, he's trying to keep up. And he's trying to. Drones are going to be going down. Now, we spoke about this at the start of the series, of course. Percival, he does thrive when it comes to drop play, and so far, 3 more drone kills. Not bad. He's finding damage. He's dipping in, he's finding damage. He's being more active. Catching a Novus here. And we'll see if Solo can keep up. Again, Solo is still in a better position. He still has more drones. He has better saturation. 4th base. He's building up his roaches. I'm worried. I'm worried for Percival when it comes to a main roach push. I'm very concerned about that kind of situation, about that timing. Until then, it's on Percival to slow this down. Oh. There are just too many roaches. Yeah, too many roaches at this point. And you can see that Solo is not droning. Solo cuts workers at 67. That's a 3 base all in. We're cutting workers at 3 base saturation. 4th base just for larva. And Solo, he's just massing up roaches. He's going for 1 massive push. And I'm not convinced here that that Percival can defend. We'll see. Here comes Solar. Solar starts to drone. Never mind. Solar, he pivots away. It's a large army, yes, but Solar doesn't max. He could have. If he wanted to, he could have maxed out, but no, Solar, he's got 7 drones all the way and the infestation pit. So Solar's taking up towards Ultra Tech, I would imagine. Solo's taking up, and yes, he's applying pressure here, but he doesn't have his heart in it. But now he's just poking in. Remember, Solo's joining, so he doesn't commit. He's just poking, which means Percival, he has potential. He has a chance here to counterattack. He's moving out with his double drop, chasing the roaches. Solo's out of position. And Percival, can he get into the mineral line? He's running for it. He's rushing. Can he get in? Ah. Takes on 2 overlords. He does make it to the base. Gets a couple of drones. 2. Only 2 drones. Dropping into the main. The Solar, he is ready. Nice transfuse. Solar, he's holding his own. Reinforcements have arrived. Ooh, Fungal does not land. And Percival pulls away. So Solar, he has defended behind this. Solar joining up to 80. Taking up in a hive. +1 melee's on the way. Bailing speed as well. As you mentioned, these are the signs of Ultra Tech. And Solar, for the most part, is still in the driver's seat. Nice catch. Nice catch on the Infestor. Liberty harass here into the 3rd. Again, Percival is being hyperactive here. He's being hyper aggressive. He's trying to find whatever damage he can. You can see dropping the natural, dropping the main base, liberated towards the 3rd. Like, this is like good harassment here out of out of Percival, but he's just so far behind that Solar, he has plenty to defend. Solar's maxed. Solar, he has plenty of supply to work with. Plenty of supply. Percival going for the main push. He's moving out with his main army against Solar. He's maxed. He's got a couple of infestors. He has Fungals available. Ideally, Solar, he wants to engage ahead of time, but we'll see. Yeah, tanks are exposed. 2 of them were unsieged. First one goes down. He just takes down the first tank behind this, rebuilding more Lings. Going for a massive counterattack at the same time. Not much of them to defend. And Lings are breaking through. Yeah, they're breaking through. They're getting us up the tank. The tank will go down. Catching out reinforcements. Not much economic damage, thankfully. Oh, the Liberator, though. 7 drone kills. Very nice. Okay. 7 drones going down. Drop into the natural. Does slip in. Percival, he's clawing his way back into this. He's trying to, at least. Ultra production has, or Ultra Cavern is on the way. There we go. Ultra production has begun. The Ultras are out. Massive Fungal. Ooh, he gets caught. Yeah, Percival, he gets caught out. And you can see Percival, he still has not recovered. This entire game he's been building up after the early game, after the initial aggression. He's not there yet. Yeah, Percival, he's not there yet. Likewise, neither is Solar. Solar, he's still waiting for his upgrades. No kindness plating, no +3. Ultras, they're not ideal, not yet. Does find the tank. Tank goes down. Solar's main army's pushing in. And it does push forward. Catching out the tank, pushing in towards the planetary. And this planetary should fall. Yeah, barely they crash into the mineral line. Massive connections. Takes out the SCVs, shows the vials. Not on the planetary. Okay. Planetary does survive. Percival, he's holding on. He does give chase, catching out some of the Ravagers. Not a bad fight here by Percival. He does hold on, but he still lost 9 SCVs. At least he saved the planetary, though. Okay. He holds on to his base. He holds on to his economy. Upgrades still just not finishing. Now, can Percival stabilize? He's stabilizing. He's getting there. Has been taking some better fights. Ooh, Fungal lands. Liberators, they punish the Ultras. They try to. The Ultra's going to be going down. Nice pickles here by Percival. We get some decent pickups. Oof. So here he kites back. He takes out another Ultra. Like, these are efficient trades. And that bank that Solar once had isn't there anymore. The maxed out army that he once had isn't there anymore either. Like, Solar, he's kind of bled out his army and he failed to break the fourth. And now suddenly Percival, he has a comparable economy, if not greater economy. He has his fourth base fully operational. Percival, he weathered the storm. Like, there was a big window in time here where Solar had the advantage, but not anymore. That window is closed. That window is closed. Percival, he has survived. He's stabilized at this point. And I would say that the momentum is now swinging in favor of Percival. At this point, the Ultras are not cutting it anymore. The Ultras, their era has come and gone. And now Soul's being outscaled. He's got one Ultra, he's got a couple of spell caches. We can see that switch into Mass Corruptor. We have +1 fire attack on the way. It looks like Solar, he's thinking about Broodlords. It looks like he's heading in that direction. But I believe there's no Greater Spire. Yeah, no Greater Spire. This base is going to go down. The Percival, he's maxed out with a more efficient army. Soul's in trouble. He's losing bases. Here comes that split push. Here comes Percival. Cleaning up all the Zerglings, mine shots going off, massive connections. Cleans up the Lings. And Lings are being cleaned up. Solar still stuck with mainly the Zergling army. Only a couple of Ultras. And the Bio army is just overwhelming. Yeah, with that, Percival is breaking on through. We have too many Corruptors. Like, a lot of supplying Corruptors here can help deal with some of the Medivacs. But the ground army is lacking. And very much so. Ooh, massive mine shots. We have a couple of Ultras trickling in. More mines popping up, dragging the army through the mines. And Percival, he's out trading. He's out trading, Pappy. Oh, we'll take some bounce to the face. Yeah, some of the bounce are connecting. Solar trying to hang on here. Let's catch a couple of Medivacs. Couple of Medivacs go down. Fungal does graze the army. Better Fungal, but no follow-up. Again, the Ultra count just isn't there. There just aren't enough Ultras, not yet. We have 3 more Ultras in production. Decent Fungal. I believe that was the last one. Yeah, no Fungals left. No Fungals left. Percival, he sims on forward. Cashing out the final Ultra. There's 5 Ultras in production. The base is falling. And Solar's struggling. Solar, he's struggling. He cannot stop the tide. He cannot stop the main army. Ultras now coming in. He has the Ultras, Pappy. He's holding. Oh no! Oh my god. Massive mine shots. Mine shots mainly of the Overseers. But the ghosts have arrived. The snipes are here. You can see Percival, he's still just rallying everything across the map. He does not want to back up. He broke the expansion. Now he's rotating to the top side. He be rotating. We can see Solar peeling off some Zerglings. He's going for another run by. Committing a little bit more towards that southern base. We've now built up to 3 Ultras. Snipes, they're connecting. Gets 1. Snipes, they get 1. They get a second Ultra. It's good, they're so low. The Ultras are so incredibly low. Lings, they do force a lift. And here we go. We do have some final snipes. Down to 2 Ultras. Down to 1. Down to 0. Yeah, 0 Ultras left. Again, there's barely an army standing here for Solar. Fungals are the chain Fungals. Oh my god, the Veilings. Massive Fungals, massive connections. Solar, he's holding. It's still very close. It's still very clutch. Solar barely hanging on there. Insane Fungal. If it wasn't for that, he might have just died then and there. Even now, trying to drag the mine shots into the ghosts. Percival, he wins the fight. Breaks on through. You can see how close this is. You can see how barely Percival's breaking through. Still rallying. Bottom left is getting up and running. We need that planetary. Do you have a bit of a lull? Yeah, Solar is going for another, what looks to be another Ling run by bottom left. Yep, there it is. Lings are moving out. Planetary's not done yet. This mineral line will, it might fall. Percival, he's in position though. Yeah, he is in position. Wow, good read here by Percival. Oh, he actually goes for an entire army rotation. Interesting. Okay, so Percival, he backs off, he alleviates all that pressure. Very nice mind connection. Nice mind shots. Now, this rotation from Percival does at least allow him to finish up his planetary, so he does maintain his economy. And we can see that Solar's out of position. That's a full mining base as well. Solar he has to evacuate. Ooh, bleeds out 13 drones in total. That's including the mine drop on top right. 14 drone kills. And another hatchery is cancelled. Solar, he does not have a bank. Remember that. No bank for Solar. Here, Percival rotates to the top side. Another big rotation. This time Percival is maxed out. Bearing in mind he does have the greater army. We're heavily reliant on fungals here. The snipes gets one. Baileys are rolling in. They try to punish. It looks like they will. Oh, the clumping. Oh my god. Yeah, clutch Bailey connection. Clutch would have mine, I should say. Yeah, mine shot goes off. Solar still holding on. Again, heavily reliant on his Link Bane. He's heavily reliant. Yeah, snipes are going up. Percival's pushing top right. I mean, it's been impressive that Solar's been holding on for this long, and he might even take down this planetary. Oh my god, the target firing! Yeah, clutch target firing with no repair. Yeah, no repair on the planetary. Planetary goes down. Percival, he will lose a very crucial mining base. Oof. Percival, 16 SCV kills. He'll lose 16 SCVs and the expansion. Percival, he plummets in supply, and without that base, Percival, he cannot maintain these trades. Solar, that one run by, that one counterattack that may have just been it. Finally, some counter damage. Percival's hurting. He needs to rebuild. He needs to build back up. So from here, Solar, he's now maxed. He's maxed out with his Link Bane army. He's got a couple of vultures in the mix. As you can see here, 0 spell casters. There's no vipers, there's no infestors. It's a very mid-tier army, but hey, it works. It's maxed. It's very mobile, at least. That is true. It's a much more mobile composition. He's got 110 Zerglings. Oh, the mine shots. Oof. The mine shots popping off. Nice snipes. Catching out one of the ultras, down to 2. The mine shots are brutal though. Yeah, what do I say? Just keep on connecting. So many Zerglings go down. We go from 110 to to 50. No, 60 Zerglings going down. And Percival trades well. He's been trading very, very well, at least against the Zerglings. He's been trading efficiently. Likewise, more importantly, he's been left alone. His bases. The bases have been left untouched. Percival, despite losing all those workers earlier, he's recovering economically. has been recovering. Both players fighting for their expansions. It's an off-center planetary. Let's go. There we go. Repositions. Solar collapsing in. Percival, his main army is actually towards the top side. Yeah, Percival, he is exposed. There's all the ghosts. The ghost comes in for the surround. Yeah, collapsing in the army. Ghosts are falling. Getting one so far. Forced to lift. And takes down the expansion. 20 SCV kills. Again, Percival, he was off towards the top side. He was out of position. He missed the rotation. Losing 2 expansions. Oh, Fungal coming in. Can he land? Oh, cannot land. Does wander into the scan. Nice snipes. And Percival, he will at least take down top right. So there's at least a bit of a back and forth here. Doesn't get the mineral line though. Doesn't get the drones. Mineral line to survive. Solar still maxed. And this all comes down to whether or not Percival can expand. If Percival fails to expand from here, I mean, that's game, right? Like, he just cannot sustain himself. He cannot sustain these trades. He needs the expansion, and Solar, he knows this. You can see him focus and fixate on this base as well. Solar waiting for his moment. Ooh, nice scan. Scan catching at the Infestor. Solar collapsing in. It does collapse forward. Ooh, Mind Shield's like get dragged into the army. Ghosts are being chased down. Ghosts run back to the mineral line. Balins get into the mineral line as well. They chase down the Ghost. They try to cloak away. No, there's detection, and with that, the final army gets cleaned up. And Solar, he has done it. He breaks the main army. Takes down every single Ghost. Percival, he plummets in supply. Technically, Percival, he survives, but he lost everything in the process. Down to 5 Marauders. Let's go. 5 Marauders remaining, down to 38 SCVs. Once again, it just comes down to the economy. And that final base will fall. Yeah, there's no saving this planetary. Not like this. No saving either planetary. And remember, this is the elimination match. Percival, he may have defeated Solar in the qualifier, but here we saw high progression from Solar excel, both in Game 1 and here in Game 2. To be fair, this game did last much longer, of course, and Solar, he was forced to get into Ultra Tech. He had a big window, a big power spike. Percival, he was very impressive, surviving that Ultra timing and surviving the storm and stabilizing eventually, to the point where even Percival was out trading. He was in the driver's seat for a good portion of this game towards the tail end until he started losing bases. Right, once planetary started going down, I mean, then he just lost control. He lost control as he could not afford those losses. As Percival, he lost base after base. He lost the expansions. Oh. Mind Shield's going off. Despite that Solar, he does break the main army. Now pushing into the final bases here came the production. Again, there's just barely anything remaining. We're coping a little bit, Pappy. As again, Percival, he was coming in as, you can even argue, the favorite player, but GG gets called, and Solar, who will claim the series 2-0, eliminating Percival from GSL. GG. Whew. GG, well played, Percival. He's out of GSL Season 1 of 2021, and Solar, he will advance on to the decider match to have a rematch against Zoun. Zoun, if you recall, he took down Solar earlier in the broadcast, earlier in the group. Zoun did bring him down, and now it's time to get his revenge. Or is it? We'll see. We'll see if Solar can bring it back here and can get his revenge. it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult here. Zoun was looking quite powerful, quite strong in that first series, but has he revealed his hand? Did he already reveal his preferred style? And can Solar adapt in time? We're here to find out. We're here to find out here. But regardless, GG well played. Solar Hill advanced. So my condolences to Percival. Again, Percival, he had a very amazing, he had a very strong showing in the qualifiers, making it this far. But as we mentioned previously, Percival, he was not able to really showcase his skill and showcase his strengths in this series. There it is, Zoun versus Solar. Oh no. Oh no, what happened? What happened on the production? Oh, should we be showing them, by the way? Like, they're not... There we go. The production broke for a moment there. We're going to be coming to a break. When we come back, we'll have the final series. We'll have Zoun versus Solar in the decided match. See you soon after the break.
GSL Season 1.
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the 2026 GSL Season 1 Round of 12 Group A. We just wrapped up with our elimination match, and now we have one series remaining here in Group A. We have Zoun versus Solar, a rematch from one of the previous series. Zoun did take down Solar 2-0 earlier, and we'll see if history will repeat itself. We'll see if Solar can recover, bounce back, and make up for that earlier loss. Let's go. Let us go as we are jumping on in. We do have Zoun and Solar ready for us here on cams. Oh boy, and I'm curious to see how the veto process will change. If you recall, we did allow for some interesting maps through the veto process. I was surprised that Solar did not veto Celestial Enclave last time in the previous series. He was caught with his pants down by an 8-gauge 3-base all-in. This time, what are the vetoes? Ooh, okay, we have this time gotten rid of Celestial. Solar, he vetoes Celestial, vetoes Windowmanners, vetoes Tide the Citadel, that makes sense. Zoun vetoes Ruby, Tourmaline, and Mothership. These are all standard vetoes considering their preferred styles. Game 1, White Rabbits. Game 2, Old Republic. Game 3, 10,000 feet. 3 maps that I would say are much more difficult to be defensive on, but we have seen Zoun be much more aggressive in tonight's broadcast, both against Rogue and against Solar. Now, I will say that Solar has the advantage of seeing Rogue bring Zoun down, so I'm sure Solar is inspired. I'm sure he's inspired. I'm sure he has an idea of how to approach Zoun. Let's go. Let us go as we're jumping into Game 1, jumping into our final series, the decider match. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of White Rabbit, we have Zoun. Top right, we have Solar, the South Korean Zerg. Zoun, of course, for our on-side. Before we get ahead of ourselves, before we get too far into this, of course, if you want to support the GSL, you can do so via Patreon, !Patreon. We have Patreon/GSL to support the event, to help fund the event and grow the tournament even further and fund Season 3. Remember, Season 3 has not been confirmed yet. We have fully funded Season 1 and Season 2, but Season 3 has yet to be funded, so you can help support the GSL through the Patreon to make sure Season 3 becomes a reality. Otherwise, we are jumping in. And so far we have our openers. Now, as a reminder, last time they faced off, Zoun, he was being a little bit cheeky. He was going for these earlier Twilight Councils. Game 1, he went for a 3-base all-in, going into an 8-gate setup into Mass Blink Stalker. In Game 2, we saw that Solar successfully got into Mutaplay and successfully contained Zoun on 3 bases. Like, it was impressive. Like, Solar was doing well for himself. I thought that we were going to see an ace match. Solar, he was containing Zoun. We saw him stuck on 3 bases. He just could not expand. He tried multiple times. His 4th base was denied. But Zoun, he was building up that death blow of an army of Archon, Storm, Stalker, and eventually he broke out, and Solar could not stop the army. Could not stop him. It all ended then and there. It all did end then and there. From here, we are going to be settling into our first series, of course, and we'll see how our players will adjust. We shall see. So I was just noticing some graphical issues. Curious to see if they've been resolved and if they're related to some of the settings. Regardless, it is going to be hatching our full standard opener here by Solar. And likewise, we do have Zoun building up as well. Yeah, it looks like it was related. Okay. Yeah, this does look cleaner, actually. Okay. We're learning as we go. Yeah, so I apologize for potentially even some of the previous matches for looking a little bit weird and a little bit blown out. This does look a lot cleaner. Basically, on the clean feed, I had like a HD setting turned on. I was curious what it did, and it did mess a little bit when it comes to the colors and when it comes to some of the grading. Did notice a little bit late in the broadcast, but hey, you know, it's a learning process. It's our first clean feed stream of the season, and should be able to have a cleaner day 2 onwards, for sure. The clean feed will be clean, Pappy. True, true. Will be clean. Otherwise, we're about to get into our tech of choice. Stargate open into the Oracle here for Zoun, and we'll see where he takes us from here. Whether he goes for an earlier Twilight Council or not, yet to confirm. As things they poke in, they will delay the expansion. Nice pick off for the probe. So Zoun's third is going to be delayed. Behind this, going for an early Twilight Council, early council before the Nexus. Now, we have seen, like, this is the one criticism that I have of Zoun, is that Zoun, he has been going for what looks to be the same style against Solar and against Rogue earlier as well. Early Twilight Council. Now, we've seen him have some variation here, either early Blink or early Glaives. Based on the lower gateway count, it looks like Blink Stalkers, and we might see 6 gate Blink again. And it's looking like that 6 gate. I feel like if we had earlier gateways, then it would be Glaives. But yep, there it is, Blink. So Blink is our tech of choice. If it's going to be the same build, then we expect to see a gateway explosion of 4 gateways. So 4 gateways into 6 gates, and then into a delayed Forge and delayed Temple Archives. And if we see that, that's the same build we saw both against Rogue and against Solar. Meanwhile, we do see that Solar, he's going for his Lair first. Lair first into Roaches. He skips his Evo Chamber. He's going into a Roach heavy style. Not Ling Hydra. Yeah, Roach heavy out of Solar. Ooh, he's going for actually for an all-in. Pneumatas Carapace is going for the Dropper Lord, is going for the German Taxi. He's going for the Taxi. Now, if you remember, we did theorize the one situation where I actually liked Zoun's build, and that is if he's up against an all-in. And it looks like it is going to be an all-in here from Solar. He's going for the Taxi, soon to load up. Adepts, they do bust in towards the third. So far, no major damage. These are vanilla Adepts. They poke in, 3 drone kills so far. They're shading towards the natural. Oracles, they're coming from behind. They could just get 1. Yeah, 1 drone goes down, 4 in total. Adepts, they shade away. They find extra workers. But remember, Solo's all in. Like, Solo doesn't care. He commits. Solo, he's rushing across the map. You can see Zoun, he went 6k Blink, and now he's teching. Forge on the way. Temple Archives on the way. That tech will not help. We need Stalkers here and now. As many Stalkers as possible. Here we go. Battery gets thrown down. He needs his batteries, he needs his static defense. Now Blink will finish early, so Blink will be a part of this defense. This is the one situation where I feel like this build works a little bit better for Zoun, but is it enough? We've yet to see. I've yet to confirm. Because this game is about to end. Either Solar kills, either he kills Zoun or he dies trying. One way or the other. Let's go. Yeah, as we do have the link drop into the main base, 5 probes going to be going down, and Biles, they zone back some of the Stalkers. We have the 3 batteries on. The wall's open. No, the wall is left open. Leagues, they fall into the main. But what about the main push? What about the main army? So far, we get some decent blink control. Yeah, Zoun kites back. Does cut away to his battery. So far, so good. Takes down some of the Roaches. Yeah, Roaches are going down. Getting into some of the Ravagers. Biles, they do not connect. And Zoun, he defends, but he still will lose 14 probes. Again, not having that wall set up at the natural base was brutal. And Solar's droning. Ooh, Solar, he does start droning up. Bearing in mind that in this defense, Zoun, he threw down his Forge. He's got +1 on the way, Charge on the way, and he has his Temple Archives as well. So I do favor Zoun coming into the mid game. I see in chats, HD filter is post-processing, sharpening, and edge detection overlay from the look of it. I will say that the HD filter made it look worse for me. It did, yeah, I would say the visual look did appear to be worse from my experience at least. So going to be having it off for the rest of the clean feed showcase. Here we go. Oracle picks in. Remember, Solar, he's trying to dread up. Remember, behind this, he was all in. He didn't really have much of an economy. Now he starts his upgrades. Road speed is now on the way. Evo Chamber's on the way as well. There's still a lot of pressure on Solar, and it looks like he's going for a secondary all-in. Yeah, Solar, he only joins up to 66. So it's basically makes, I want to say, what was it, like 8 to 9 drones? Drones up a little bit, and now setting up for the second wave, the second all-in. In a sense, it's going to be weaker, though. As Zoun, over time, his army is becoming more complex. Yeah, it does look more complex. High Templar amassing. Storm is almost done. Zoun is catching up the queens. Gets one. One queen goes down. And catching up one of the queens. Zoun does pull away, drop into the main. And Zoun is in position. Shuts down the drop. Drop is being cleaned up. Zoun shuts down the drop. Storms are ready. Again, the soup is lying to you. The soup is lying. Again, Solar, he might be maxed out, but he's maxed out in a very mid-tier army. It's a very mid army. Zoun's is equivalent, if not better. He has the high ground advantage. Storms are landing. Zoning back the army. Lings that he caught out as well. Miscontrol of Solar. Throwing away all those Zerglings. Ay, ay, ay. He throws away so many Zerglings. Ooh, Piles are doing friendly fire. Oh, the friendly fire, Pappy. Ay, ay, ay. Solar. What's going on? The friendly fire. Fleet beacons on the way. Zoun is thinking about Sky Toss, and Solar, he's breaking. He's breaking internally. I mean, like, he's got the mental, Pappy. Yeah, you can see him shaking his head on cams. It does not feel good to be stuck with an all-in and to not gain any ground. Solar, he's losing it. He's bleeding out more roaches, bleeding out more queens. Spiles, they try to zone. They at least do zone away, but Solar's almost maxed. Sorry, Zoun is almost maxed, I meant to say. Zoun is almost maxed out. And remember, Zoun is maxing out with a superior composition. In a head-on fight, Solar cannot engage. Solar's best chance is the backstab. And you can see Solar's going for a secondary push, pushing towards the third, but Stasis Raptor's catching him out. Zoun is ready for it. He's got a wall of cannons and shield batteries. Zoun is ready. Oof. Zoun is ready for the counterattack, and soon Zoun should push. Oh god, god, god. The storm. Not like this. As Mothership has arrived, Tempest production has begun. And again, we should soon see Zoun's push. Should soon see his move out. The issue here is that Solar, the best chance he has is if Zoun pushes and then Solar backstabs and we force like a weird base trade. That's maybe best case scenario for Solar. Diving on the Roaches, diving on the Ravagers. Storm connects. Lings, they do catch out some Stalkers though. And not a bad flank there. Solar tries to slow down the main army. Free damage with the Oracles, not bad. But Jesus, Baneling's rolling in as well. that's a massive counterattack. And Zoun, can he defend? Show us the storms. Ooh. Plaza connecting. Yeah, Biles connects, so we don't have any defensive storms. Miscontrol there by Zoun. Force a recall. Yeah, messy defense here. Zoun, he defends poorly. Base on the left-hand side is exposed. And Solar, he's finding some damage at least. Getting something. But it's still not going to be enough. Yeah, still not enough. 10 probe kills, but Solar throws away so much of his army. Solar's remaxing, but he's stuck with Lingbane Roach Ravager. Again, Solar's being outscaled. And here comes down. Here comes that big push. We've been waiting for it. We've been waiting. Oh, bit of miscontrol. One Archon gets caught. Yeah, a bit of a misrally. Zealot run by towards the top side. Cloak is activated. Bailey's going to be zoned away. He gets into the middle line. Drones are falling. And Zoun is overwhelming. He's breaking through these bases one after the other. Takes down the middle line, takes down the expansion. There's a bit of a counterattack with their Zealots to defend. Oracles as well. He's got his Oracles, got his Zealots. Hatchery goes down as well. That's 2 bases falling. As we tried to emphasize, Solar, he was completely all in earlier and he failed to break through. He failed to push into the bases. The all-ins, they failed time and time again. And Zoun is here. Playing it safe. He's lacking reinforcements. Solar supply blocked. Oh. Yeah, Solar getting called out. Again, Solar just doesn't really have much of an army. He's got a higher corruptor count, that will help, but his ground army is still lacking. Very much so. It's designed to like surround, to flank. Does catch the Tempest. Tempest survives. Solar, he does hit the right hand side. There is no recall. This space may fall. Banelings, they try to collapse with the main army, going for that Templar. Not bad. Templar, they get away. Mothership almost getting caught. Messy engage here from Zoun. Tanking Biles. He tanks the Biles. Likewise, Corruptors at least catch the Mothership and the Tempest. But GG. GG gets called. There's nothing left, and Zoun, he will claim game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Zoun, he will take a lead in this series. And again, Solar, he committed into a very dedicated all-in early on. He went for the German taxi, and the all-in failed. If you recall, I did mention something about Zoun's build initially. So winding it back, just to get into it a little bit here. Remember, Zoun, he went for an early Twilight Council, early Blink into 6k Blink Stalker on 3 bases, followed by delayed upgrades and delayed tech. Because of this, he had an excess amount of gateways, excess amount of Stalkers, excess amount of Blink, of course, as Blink did finish up earlier than normal, and specifically this build does excel against early game aggression. This is why we saw Zoun struggle against Rogue, because Rogue went for later aggression. He went for later 3-base all-ins. Solo went for an earlier one, which meant that the early Blink did come into play for Zoun, and he defended very, very well. Solo then followed up by a 3-base all-in, but by then, Zoun, he got into his Storm, his Archons, his Templar production, into eventually Sky Toss. Zoun just excelled after the initial all-in from Solar failed. GG. GG, well played. Again, Rogue, his aggression typically came later. It was later aggression out of Rogue, typically on 3 bases. On 3 and 4 bases, that is where Rogue excelled. Solar, he went for a 2.5 base all-in instead, hitting earlier, which is where Zoun was prepared for. That's what he was prepared for. Zoun was ready, and now we're loading into game number 2, going to be loading into the Old Republic. Now, what I will say about this map is that typically 3 base aggression and 4 base aggression is heavily favored on this map. We should be seeing Solar joining. Let's go. Let us go. Spawning in the bottom hand corner, we have a Zoun for onside. In the top right, we have Solar, our South Korean Zerg. Let's go. Zoun, he is 1 game away from advancing on into the round of 8. 1 more game. Now again, welcome to the Old Republic. The Old Republic is a larger map in the map pool, longer rush distance by ground. Specifically, the 4th base is very exposed on this map. The 4th base. And if you remember, when Rogue played on this map, he did take advantage of that. Rogue, he droned. He droned up to 73 drones, I want to say. Like 73, 74 drones. He went up to 3.5 base saturation. And then he was hyper aggressive with Roach Hydra. Roach Hydra again, on with a larger, greater economy in the mid game. He went for the all-in. He went for the all-in with Roach Hydra off of 73 drones. And again, that was a later timing. It was a later push, which did catch Zoun off guard. Again, Zoun, because of his earlier Blink builds, he does struggle in the mid game, I would say. He struggles in the mid game if he's up against a player that's not being aggressive early on. We'll see how Solo will change his approach. I'm hoping the Solo drones. At the same time, we could see Zoun adapt and be aggressive instead. So I'm hoping for aggression from Zoun. I do think that that playing a standard game on Old Republic is very difficult for Protoss. It's very, very difficult. Just because of the more exposed bases. We'll see. We shall see. 8-gate 3-base all-ins are not unheard of on the Old Republic, so that's something that we could embrace. We have already seen from Zoun. Glaive Adepts we could also see as well. We did see that attempted against Rogue. Show us what you got. Show us what you got. As from here, we just be taking. Hatch gas pool into a third. Should be on the horizon for Solo. Likewise, Stargate open out of Zoun. We're just calming down, settling in. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. And really, we're just waiting for the tech, waiting for the Twilight Council timing. So far, the Oracle's on the way. Third base should soon be taken. So from here, we are droning, we are saturating. From here, Zoun, by going into Oracles, is going to be able to expand, claim his third, harass across the map as well. Solo shouldn't really sustain many losses here. This is a bit of a skill check. We should be able to maintain our drones, maintain our economy, minimize losses, keep an eye on our opponents. Overlord, ooh, is going to be hunted down though. Okay. Does chase down the Overlord. Early Evo Chamber out of Solar. Now we have our first sign of tech here. With the early Chamber, this means +1 melee. This typically means Ling Hydra. We're skipping Roach production. We might still go into Banelings, but we can say with more certainty here that there are going to be no Roaches. Meanwhile, once again, early Twilight Council out of Zoun. Early Council out of our Protoss player. Now, last game it was early Council into 6-gate Blink. This game, are we going for that same build? Once again, there's no Forge. There's no Forge. If we had extra gateways, I would assume it would be Glaives, but the fact that we're delaying the gateways, it looks like 6-gate Blink again. So we should be seeing 4 gates momentarily. There's 1 in production. There's 2 in production. We should be seeing 2 more soon. Assuming that we're kind of like locked in when it comes to the build of choice. Yep, there it is, Blink. So Blink, 2 more gates. Meanwhile, Adept stay shade into the mineral line. For those that are curious, this is the same build 2 games in a row for Zoun. Same build. I say that, it's only 4 gates so far. 2 done and 2 on the way. In the last game he had, no, there it is. I was waiting for the extra gateways. So 6-gate Blink, same build 2 games in a row. Once again, I feel like this build does excel against early game aggression, but remember Solar is not going for early game aggression. So I actually prefer Solar's position this time. I do prefer it. Adept stay shade into the mineral line. No major damage. They get 1 drone, only 1. Solar does defend. And remember, from here, Zoun is going to be taking up in towards a delayed Forge and his Storm and his Temple Archives. Delayed +1. Unfortunately, Zoun rarely makes use of these gateways, unless he's up against an all-in. So that's why Zoun, in general, I'm not too fond of this build. This build does struggle in the mid-game against a more economic build. it means that Solar can freely just drone, freely expand, drone up, and doesn't really have any concerns to worry about here. There's nothing to really apply pressure from Zoun. Zoun is going for an earlier Robo. Interesting. If that's going to be for a War Prism, then we could see Zoun push earlier than normal, which I would be for. Nice harass. 3 drone kills. Now, with this Prism, there's a chance we might skip Storm. Never mind. I was going to say, if we skip Storm, go for a fast War Prism, and then go for an Archon push, we could try to catch Solar off guard. But no, Storm is on the way, so we're not going for an Archon push. We're just taking up. And it's going to be a difficult defense for Zoun at the 4th. It's not about the 3rd, it's about the 4th base. That's typically what this comes down to. Typically. Solar, he drones up to 80, so he's done droning. Solar, he's done droning up to 80. Now he's teching, +1 is on the way. Hydra range, Hydra speed. Solar, he'll soon be looking to max out. And his target should be the 4th expansion as Zoun attempts to expand. And again, I'll be impressed. I'll be impressed here if Zoun can maintain his 4th. I'm getting some strong deja vu here from the Rogue series. I guess the difference is that Rogue went for a Roach heavy composition. He went for Roach Hydra. Here, Storms can actually defend. True. Like, these Storms might be good enough to defend against Ling Hydra. Rogue intentionally went Roach Hydra so he could tank Storms. He could tank them. Here, Solar cannot. So with some well-placed Storms, Zoun defends. But it all comes down to the Storms, bearing in mind that because of the 4th base being so open, there's not really many choke points, so there's just so much room here for Solar to traverse. So much room. And here we go, Solar's maxed. Solar, he's maxed out. And this 4th base is going to be denied. Nice aces. But there's no saving the 4th. Ooh, that's a kill. That should not have happened. That's a kill, not a cancel. Ay. And again, like as we mentioned, like this is why Old Republic is Zerg favorite in ZVP. Protoss players, they struggle so much when it comes to taking a 4th base on this map. It is so difficult. Fleet Beacon's on the way. Zoun, he's going to try to troll up into Skytoss. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult here. Solo collapsing once again. Guessing some of the Nexus. And that's another kill. Oh god. The 2nd kill in a row. You can see there the observer does confirm. Oh boy. Zoun. Yeah, Zoun is falling apart here. He just cannot expand. Nice Zelda by, okay. Does bring down the expansion, no transfuse. Okay, no transfuse. Lings, they collapse on the Nexus once again. This time there's a cancel. Nice Storm. Nice Storm with the Zerglings. I will say that this linear 4th base is a lot easier to secure. It is easier. Not easy, but easier compared to the low ground expansion. Considering that there's more, I should say, there are limited angles of attack. More so than the low ground. Zoun is double expanding. Solar, he rotates, he spots a Nexus. He wants it. It does want that expand. Now, do you notice something here? As Bailey's they try to crash in, Archons they deny. This is looking eerily similar to game 2 between Zoun and Solar. Do you recall what I'm referring to? Where in game 2, Solar, he was doing an amazing job denying the 4th base. He denied the 4th base time again with Mutaplay, and eventually Zoun, he couldn't take a 4th base, he couldn't expand, but he built up a death ball of a Stalker, Archon, High Templar army, and then he just A-moved. He just A-moved across the map, and he just killed Solar. Here it's looking very similar, where Zoun cannot expand, but he's building up an army. Like, this death ball is looking quite terrifying, and eventually he'll move out. What I want out of Solar to stop that from happening is Lurker Tech. I want to see, like, Solar has an economy, Solar has a bank. Look at this, he has 4,000 minerals. He has 1,000 gas. I would love to see a Lurker Den and Hive Tech and the preparation for a Lurker transition. If that doesn't happen, then Zoun could break out. Banelings are rolling in. They do not break down the front door. Lings, they attempt to engage. The 4th base of Zoun is slowly getting up. Solar still being active. Still being hyper aggressive here. You can see that Zoun is closing that gap in supply. Cloak is activated. Ooh, Storm on the Hydras. And Solar, he's bleeding out a lot of supply here. He tries to commit. High Templar is safe. Ling Bane gets punished. And Zoun, he's maxing out. Oh, again, as we mentioned, this is eerily similar to game 2 between Solar and Zoun earlier on Mothership. It's the same thing, where Solar did an amazing job denying the 4th base, but Solar never got ready for the counterattack. He's still stuck with a very fragile army and a couple of well-placed storms, and Zoun, he'll break through this. It's still close. I mean, at least Solar, he's maxed, right? Like, Solar, he has an army. The goal here for Solar should be to surround. If he can flank the army and come in from multiple angles, he can get on top of the High Templar. Being run by Will Cash and Immortal, not bad. Nice recall. Very clutch recall. Lings, they try to slip in. It's a messy wall. Yeah, it's a messy wall. 10% defending against the Hydras. We have the Spire finishing up for Corruptor production. Infestation bit's finally on the way, but this pit is so late. Again, look at the bank. Like, we had so much money here to tech up. We should have already had a pit and a hive and a Lurker Den, but none of it's here. Like, Solar, he was so tunnel visioned. He was so tunnel visioned. Now, all my concerns don't really mean anything if Zoun doesn't break out. Nice Storm, but the wall is open. Yeah, the wall is open. High Templar goes down. Banelings roll into the mineral line. There's an opening here. Zoun is taking damage. Nice warp in defensively. Oh, the Banelings! Oh my god. Yeah, probes, they survive. Zoun is now securing his 5th base. And Zoun, he's snowballing out of control here. He's not being stopped. He had such a hard time getting a 4th, but now he's getting a 5th. And against Solar, he's still stuck on Ling Bane Hydra. He's still stuck, Backy. Hive is finishing up. So he's working on his Hive. A couple of Corruptors on the way that will help against the Sky Toss. But I'm still worried about the ground army. Worried about the ground toss. I'm worried about everything, really. It's just the death ball, Bappy. The cloak is premature. Yeah, Zoun does waste his cloak. Banelings, they roll in. Boys, they pull away. And we get one Baneling connecting. 5 probes. 5 probes go down. Zoun is still trying to max out. Nice little run by Lings, they flood in. The wall's not a wall. Yeah, the wall is open. Probes are going down. This is getting out of hand. 9 probe kills. 12. 13. Yeah, 13 probes. Ay. 15, 16. This one Zergling popping up in the natural. Yeah, messy defense here by Zoun. Losing far too much, more than he really should. So Zoun does miscontrol. We can see that Solar does not want to go into Lurker Tech, he's going into Ultras. Now, the issue with Ultra Tech is that it takes a longer time to get going. He needs to wait for +1 carapace, and +2 carapace, and +3, and kindness plating. The upgrades are lacking for Ultras right now. That's why typically Lurker Tech is a cleaner transition. Oh, the Hydras, no, they're getting caught out. Hydras getting caught. And Zoun should push pre-Ultra. He should be able to move out soon. He's maxed. It is difficult to push just because there's so much creep and just because Solar has map control, but the reality is that Zoun, if he doesn't push soon, he's going to allow Solar to get into Ultras. To embrace his hype tech. And Zoun, he's getting picked apart a little bit here, losing one of the Tempest. Like Zoun, we can't just stay defensive here. We can't just stay turtling. Oh, yeah, Bane's get shut down. Nice defense. Cashing out a good chunk of Ling Bane. Solo once again moving in. Ultra production has begun. Zoun is taking too long. Yeah, he's taking too long. He's allowing Solar to refine his army. Up until this point, Solar would just die if Zoun pushed. Except for a surround, of course. But now with Ultras, now he has a way to push forward, to engage with the army. Now the purpose of the Ultras and their role here, when it comes to the composition, is to get on top of the High Templar. The goal is to get on top of the Templar and either kill the Templar or force out all the storms. And if you can force out all the storms prematurely, thanks to the Ultras, then the rest of the army can excel. But those Ultras, their goal here is to get on top of those Templar. We'll see if they can. Ultra speed is on the way. Kindness plating is done. There's some okay storms here on the Hydras. Oh god, we stand in the storms. And nice cleanup. Zoun finally starts pushing, but again, Ultras are getting ready. We have 4 more Ultras on the way. That's going to be 8 Ultralisks. That's a lot of Ultras. Army gets caught, forced to recall. Messy push here from Zoun. Does kill an expansion at least. And now he confirms all the Ultralisks. And now Zoun, now he has incentive to stay at home. Now, because of all these Ultras, this typically does force a Robo response into a heavier Immortal count. Yeah, but you can see here on the production tab, a second Robo is on the way and Immortal production has begun. So he's switching into Immortals. Now Zoun is stuck at home until he builds up the Immortal count. God damn it. Oh, he's stuck at home. The High Templar, they almost overextend. Okay, Templar pull away. Solar, he's throwing away some Ultras. Get a heavy Archon count. That's a lot of Archons. Zell take the northern base. What's important as well is that Solar's base count is actually quite low. Even though Solar has had map control, he has a very low base count. So this is also one of the reasons why Zoun hasn't been pushing. There's no rush, right? There's no rush. You can see there's 3 expansions on the bottom right and 1 expansion center left that have never been taken. They can eventually belong to Zoun. And now here he comes. Here comes the main push. After 20 minutes, he finally pushes. And with this amount of Archons, can he shut down the Ultras? Ultras, they try to collapse in. They're getting on top of the Archons. The storms are connecting. Archons are going down. And the Ultras, are they enough? They're not. Yeah, not enough Ultras here. GG gets called. Zoun overwhelms. And Zoun, he will claim the series 2-0. He will advance on into GSL round of 8. GG. GG, well played. Solar, ooh, instantly does disconnect. Solar, he's out of GSL. Again, Solar, he's one of the best Zerg players in the world. True, 100%. He's one of the best Zergs. But alas, he is knocked out of the first round of GSL. GG. GG, well played. Now, talking a little bit about the game itself and talking a little bit about the occurrence here of Game 2 specifically, if you remember, Solar, he had the edge. He had the lead. Solar was containing Zoun on a very low base count, if you recall, and we were praising Solar, but then we did take notice here that there was a moment where it's like, hold on, this is looking like game 2 on Mothership of the previous series. We spoke about that, about how very similarly Solar, he was denying the 4th base, denying the 4th base, denying the 4th base, and then Zoun pushed. And it was similar here, where Solar was denying the 4th base over and over again. Solar was banking up some resources. Oh, we have winners interview. Hold on. We have the winners interview.
Ask you, today we saw you play PVZ in 3 different best of 3s. It was a little bit shaky versus Rogue, but versus Solar, you looked absolutely on point. How do you feel about your confidence in that matchup right now?
일단 박한수 선수 승리 축하드리고요. 일단 첫 번째 질문은
They're asking about his ZVP.
푸사전을
I would want the question to be a little bit more pointed, specifically about his build going 6-gate. Going early Twilight Council, late upgrades, early 6-gate. I want to hear the rationale behind it.
좀 자신감이 좀 생긴 것 같은데
'Cause it's very unique.
어떠신지 궁금합니다.
일단 전날에 도우 형이 그 서프전 빌드 개념을 하나 알려줬어요. 그래서 이거 엄청 좋은데?
I feel like the question was too general.
자신감이 생겨가지고 그게 좀 기반이 되지 않았나 싶습니다.
Well, yesterday before the match, actually Classic guided me
Ooh.
on some builds and
Oh.
some macro play, so I think that helped me really well.
Nice. Well, I had another question about your build orders coming into this one. We saw in the very beginning of today, you played a wide variety of strategies, especially versus Solar. The proxy gateway blink timing attack was really cool. But then as the game went on, you kind of tried to slow everything down and play more macro games. Can you tell me about that?
일단 오늘 좀 다양한 양상의 푸자전을 좀 많이 보여주셨어요. 또 첫 번째 세트에서
I'm not too fond of the
첫 번째
framing
경기,
there.
첫 번째 세트에서 또 전멸 추적자 올인을 했던 것도 그렇고 그 이후에는 근데
He still went
또
Glaives, if you remember.
올인을 가지 않고 굉장히 좀 이렇게 운영 위주의 좀 스타일을 가시면서 했는데 좀 어떤 것들을 좀 많이 준비하셨는지 좀 궁금합니다.
일단 첫 번째 이제 민수 형이랑 했을 때 제가 원래 점추 빌드 뽕을 쳐서 민수 형한테 이겨본 적이 없어요. 근데 꼭 이기고 싶어가지고 그거를 썼는데 그 빌드가 통하고 나서 오늘 되는 날이다 싶어서 약간 2세트는 약간 천천히 하는 식으로 플레이를 했고 병렬이 형이랑 했을 때는 제가 좀 실수를 되게 많이 해서 그 점이 좀 많이 아쉬웠고 이제 마지막에는 이제 병렬이 형이랑 했을 때 너무 급해서 진 것 같다 이런 결론을 내려서 마지막에 민수 형이랑 했을 때는 좀 천천히 하는 플레이를 위주로 하려고 했어요.
Yeah, so in the first initial matchup against Solar, actually I never won against Solar with that all-in build
Yeah, with 8-gate.
with Blink Stalkers. So that's why I kind of felt, this is my night when I finally succeeded against him in this match. So I kind of dialed down a little bit in later games. So I think the macro build actually pretty well. And the game against Rogue, actually, I made a lot of mistakes. It's mostly because I try to push myself so far. So I kind of feedback myself onto the next match against the rematch against Solar to just dial down a bit, just be calm as possible, and try to make less mistakes as possible. So I think that was pretty good refresher on that match.
Got it. And last question for you, Zoun, really quick. So at the end of the game, you basically built what was, in my opinion, the perfect Protoss army. But I wonder if you could change anything about that army, because you seem like you really wanted to
More
maximize
modals.
the Archons. Would you change anything, or do you think that was just the perfect composition to have in the situation?
이제 마지막 경기에서
I don't think it
정말
was perfect.
끝까지 어떻게 보면 좀 조합을
Like,
좀 많이 신경을 썼던 것 같아요.
I mean, we'll see what Zoun says, but like, Zoun was switching into Immortal production, and ideally he would have had more Immortals to have an easier fight against the Ultras.
위주로 좀 많이 꾸렸는데 박한수 선수가
Like, he was very Archon heavy, which was not ideal. He was just kind of making use of what he had, because he wasn't ready for the Ultras at the time.
일단 기본적으로 폭풍함이 좋아요. 그래서 좋아가지고 거의 4기 유닛급이라 인구수도 4고 해서 한 줄이면 충분할 것 같고 나머지는 악한 집정관 위주로
Yeah, he brought up Archon
되게
there.
여러분들 편할 겁니다.
Yeah, so basically, like, I wanted to make my Tempest count much more as possible because
Mhm.
Tempest is actually a very good unit with force supply and actually very I would say OP level. So yeah, I think I try to make at least 8 Tempests
Mhm.
as possible, and then I will just stack Archons as much as possible to support the ground.
Okay, awesome. Congratulations again on your victory, Zoun. How far do you expect to go this season of GSL?
이제 8강에 진출하셨는데 좀 어디까지 올라가실 수 있을 것
I
같은지
mean, Zoun,
궁금하네요.
he wasn't very confident in his comment earlier.
일단 8강에서 좀 올라가면은 그래도 결승 노려볼 수 있지 않을까. 8강을 뚫어야 이게 보이거든요. 다전제 기운이. 저는 다전제가 좀 자신 있어가지고 8강만 좀 뛰어넘으면 어떻게 결승까지 비빌 수 있지 않을까라는 생각을 하고 있습니다.
Yeah, the only big obstacle I think myself is actually round of 8. So if I can make through round of 8, I think I can get through the finals. I think I'm pretty confident in the best of 5s and best of 7s. So yeah, I think the point is I think I must go through the round of 8 to get much higher. If I can get through that, then I'm pretty much confident.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Good luck in the tournament. All right, guys, that's a wrap. 2-0,
Okay.
2-0, 2-0-02? 2-0, okay.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let's get back into it. So, yeah, I mean, Tasteless and State, I mean, they're not known for their interviews, they're not known for their questions, to be fair, so I don't want to be too harsh on them, but I feel like the questions asked were very generalized, and I feel like, okay. I'm reminded of when I had to do some interviews for ANZ Champs, and the first answer that Zoun gave was actually really good because it gives you something to latch onto. What I mean by that, the first question was really general about his EVP, which was kind of weird. But Zoun, he actually gave an insightful answer. What did Zoun say? Zoun, he said, oh, like I wasn't really feeling too confident, but I actually got some help from Classic earlier. Once a player like gives you a little bit of information like that, like a little thread, you pull on that thread. Like as an interviewer, it's because that's like interesting. It's like, oh, like so Classic helped you out. Like, are you good friends? Like, does he often help you out? Does he often give you advice? Have you gone to other top Korean pro players like Hero, for example, for help and for advice as well? Then you can branch out a little bit further because his team is onside, of course, but he's the only Protoss player on onside, right? He's got Ryung, he's got Maru alongside him, you know. Then you can like have some fun with it and like ask him like, like, does it feel lonely being the only Protoss player on onside? Like, do your other teammates ever help you? You know, what does Ryung do for you? Then you can like poke some fun at Ryung as well, because there's always banter with Ryung. Ideally in an interview like setting like that, it's like, even though you have like some pre-written down questions, if they aren't really too, if the pre-written down questions aren't really too important, or you can go back to them later, like usually you latch on to something like that once the player gives you something to work with. So I would say the first answer was actually really interesting, really cool from Zoun, that he didn't really have to divulge that. I would have preferred if they had latched onto that instead of like asking like, oh, do you think you built like the perfect Protoss army, or like how confident are you like going further in the tournament, like these very like general basic questions. But at the same time, like again, Tasteless and State, they're not known for being interviewers, they're not known for like being in that kind of situation and trying to like get more information or get more out of the players in this more like one-on-one setting. What I will say is that I'm a little bit surprised that we had the interview to begin with. What I mean by that is that usually the interviews are done in Korean, right? You have the Korean casters, they conduct the interviews themselves, and then you have the just the translations given to the English side of things. I don't think we've ever seen a situation, I could be wrong, but maybe you can correct me in the chat. I believe we've never actually had a situation where the English casters directly ask questions to the Korean player. Usually it's done from the Korean side of things, from the Korean commentators, right? And it's usually the Korean casters that are there just to hear and just to react to the questions being asked. So so that was interesting. That was really cool. I'm hoping that maybe that motivates Tasteless and State to have these winners interviews for RSL. That's one of our biggest criticisms for RSL, is that RSL is another big event that's going on, and I would love to have, you know, some interviews like this to actually hear from the players. So shout out to GSL for providing for that. Shout out to Maddox for being the translator, for translating and for providing some insight from the players, and for providing all that information, of course. So much love to Maddox. And here are patrons as well. A big shout out to the supporters over on Soup and supporters on Patreon. If you want to help support this event and allow for season 3 of GSL to actually come to pass and come to fruition, then do support over on GSL, over on Patreon, or over on Soup as well. Both are different platforms to support the event, to fund the event, to allow for more GSL to continue in 2026 and many years onward as well. True. So much love to Soup, much love to GSL. Shout out to Intel, of course, for being the main sponsor of the event, as we are wrapping up for the night, and we'll be back tomorrow with Group B of GSL. See you soon. See you tomorrow.